You can't be much hotter than Phillies left fielder Dominic Brown. No matter what you choose to call him, home runs are flying off his bat at a rapid rate, and he's overflowing with confidence. The Dominic Brown Power Show has been a blast to watch and a true celebration, no matter how you say it. In the air to right field. That's well hit. Ozuna's going back. It is gone! He's homered again!
Lanzamiento de Kohler. Brown por el right field. Esa se va, se fue. Échale sazón. Eso es otro jonrón de downtown Dominic Brown. Cuidado.
Many of the fans coming to the ballpark tonight were excited to get their Carlos Ruiz bobble figurine. In fact, some got a chance to meet Carlos. That's only part of the story, though. The rest of the fans, they're coming to see the Phils, and they're coming to see Dominic Brown's at-bats. It's Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Marlins. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. As Ricky Ricardo said on our Spanish broadcast last night, watch out for Dominic Brown because he has been red hot for the Phils.
He sure has, Tom. And you mentioned at-bats. People coming to see. Well, few are better than the at-bat that he had last night when he wound up hitting the home run in that big 6th inning. 8 pitches he's going to see. Starts off with a little foul ball down the first baseline. Now, Tom Kohler had really good stuff last night, especially his curveball, and he fouls off a couple of them. There's one right there that he fouled off. He tried everything. He pitched him in with sliders, fastball, changeups, another curveball, and it's going to set up a big moment where he tries to fool him with a changeup down and away. That thing stayed up in the zone, and it went up and away and took a long ride into the seats in right field as he just remains en fuego, about as hot as a player can be in the major leagues right now. You see what Dominic Brown has done in his last 10 games. These numbers are just through the roof, almost unimaginable what he's been able to do. Well, Tom mentioned everybody wants to talk about this guy. Well, our Greg Murphy sat down with a guy who used to manage him in the minor leagues, Ryan Sandberg.
All right, thank you very much. Well, Ryan, you had a chance to watch Dom Brown last year as the manager in Lehigh Valley, continue his development. Do you see anything that he is doing right now that is completely different or a little bit out of the ordinary from what you saw last year?
Well, I think what he's doing is he's putting everything together on all facets of the game, and I think with that he's gaining confidence in his game. I did have him in 2011 and 12 in Lehigh Valley, and he showed spurts of being hot like he is, but then he had some nagging injuries that would come up, and then he wasn't able to play 2 months straight on an everyday basis and get the at-bats and get the games under his belt, which I think is very important with what he's done now and where he's at right now, and along with the nice job that Wally Joyner and Steve Henderson have done with him throughout spring, and then up to this point, I think that they've created a pregame routine for him that works for him, and the results couldn't be better. So he's on a roll. It's fun to watch, and the talent has always been there, but I think the fact that he's been able to stay healthy has been one of the biggest keys.
All right, well, it has been fun to watch, no doubt about it. Hopefully it continues, and we can keep on watching this. Ryan, thanks for your time. Guys, we'll send it back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. So Dominic Brown will get another opportunity tonight. He'll face the veteran Ricky Nolasco, who's making his 13th start. Jonathan Pettibone, meanwhile, makes his 9th start for the Phillies. When we return, we'll have the starting lineups and first pitch of game number 2. Phillies baseball Juan Pierre's walking up. Let's take a look at the Marlins lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It's Pierre, Lucas, and Coghlan, then Marcelo Zuna, Derek Dietrich, and Casey Kochman. Echeverria, the shortstop, is hitting 7th. Batting 8th, Rob Brantley. At batting 9th is Ricky Nolasco. Pettibone's ready to go. And the count is no balls and 1 strike.
They know Pettibone because he faced him one time before in one of his 8 starts against the Marlins. There's Jonathan's numbers overall. Fastball. And he's going to throw a lot of changeups. Right there, one thing that we looked at, we'll talk about his left-handed hitters, right-handed hitters, a Budweiser scouting report, and that's what we have on the scouting report. He really needs to improve on that. It's a little bit like Kyle Kendrick used to be, where the left-handed hitters hit him hard, and he got the right-handed hitters out, and that's something he has to get better.
2-1 pitch to Pierre, and it's on the outside corner, 2-2.
Teams will stack their lineup with left-handed hitters if they can against guys that struggle with it.
I guess he could take the same page out of Kendrick's book eventually with the changeup, but he came up with a reputation of having a good changeup. That ball's lifted toward right. It's not deep. Young's on the run. It's going to drop in front of him. And Pierre is aboard with a base hit. Juan Pierre is now 10 for 33 against the Phillies this year.
You don't expect him to pull balls very often. You play him around the other way and you put your right fielder in right center field, and he couldn't get to that.
Charlie Manuel was joking around with Juan Pierre earlier today about all the hits he's picked up against the Phillies. He said, Juan, as honest as always, said, yeah, but I'm not hitting against anybody else.
That is Juan Pierre, if you get to know him how honest he is.
Now Ed Lucas. Lucas was 1 for 2 last night. There goes Pierre. Pitch is taken inside. The throw to second is in time on 1 hop. Wow. And Pierre say, wait a minute, he didn't tag me. What a play by Jimmy Rollins.
I'm just going to say that's an unbelievable tag by Jimmy Rollins. If he were able to do that, and Bob Davidson said he got him, Mike Redmond's going to come out and complain a little bit. Juan Pierre knows when he gets tagged after all these years of doing this stuff. Here's Quintero. The throw is on a short hop to Jimmy. Look at those hands.
He never tagged him until after he was at the bag.
And the initial swipe was, it looked like he misses it.
Right there, it's close. But that first angle we had, and that's a good angle too, but that first angle we had, it looked like when Jimmy swiped, he missed, and that's why he went back to tag him again.
And if he'd have tagged him, Juan Pierre certainly would have felt that on his batting helmet. But he's out. That's all that matters. And that's a big break right out of the chute to erase him, right? Oh, man, that is so close.
It's a great shot, too, just to see everything happen.
Wow. What a super slow-mo. It's so hard to tell if he may have just brushed it a little bit.
1-2 the count to Lucas, who fouls it toward the Marlins dugout. Pierre with more than 600 career stolen bases.
Yeah, we saw him get number 600 here last time they were here. He's still ticked off thinking he is safe.
He's doing a little pacing. Ground ball to second. Freddie Galvis to his right. And there are 2 outs. Tom Kohler was the guy in the dugout that was talking to Pierre. He was probably inside and saw the replay that we showed. And yes, he just said he didn't tag him. Miguel Oliva was asking him. He just said he didn't tag him.
Number 8, center fielder, Chris Coghlan.
How long do you think that debate goes on, Wills? 1 inning, 2 innings?
Well, you know what really sold it was that quick tag that Jimmy made. But then when he goes back the second time, that kind of indicates that he didn't think he got him, as you said.
Oh, 2 outs here at the top of the first. Chris Coghlan's the hitter, and he hits one off the end of the bat, spins out toward Galvis, who takes it on 1 hop, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. The Phillies got a break, an attempted steal by Juan Pierre. They'll take it. We go to the bottom of the first in a scoreless game. As a rooftop or those bleachers out in right center field, but they're here and they're enjoying the night.
That's all they did.
Bottom of the first. Let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at center field, Ben Revere. Michael Young's back in the lineup. He'll bat second. Jimmy Rollins third. Then Ryan Howard, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Dominic Brown hits fifth. Delman Young sixth. Freddie Galvis over at second base. He'll bat seventh. Batting eighth is Humberto Quintero. And hitting ninth is Jonathan Pettibone. And they'll face right-hander Ricky Nolasco, who is no stranger to the Phils. 12 starts this year, a 3-6 record.
Yeah, at one time had won 5 in a row in this ballpark until the last time out when the Phillies were able to beat him a game. Nolasco can really be tough on a given night. See the numbers on him. He's not a guy who's going to walk a whole lot of batter. Budweiser's scouting report. Now, we used to say fastball, curveball with him, but according to his reports now, he's throwing a lot more sliders than he used to and less curveballs, and he also has an excellent changeup. And as Tom mentioned, he has pitched against the Phillies a lot over the years. How about 20 games, 17 starts?
Yeah, 8-6 lifetime against the Phillies with an ERA of 3.85. Ben Revere leads it off. He was 2 for 5 last night. Revere overall hitting .250. No home runs. In fact, he's at 1,169 at bats without a home run.
Used his speed well last night. They were able to score some runs on contact play. They played a pretty good game last night overall, did the Phillies.
Down the left field line, that'll slice out of play. It's 1-2. And for Ben Revere, he picked up an RBI. It was his first RBI in a while, which is a good thing to see.
Well, it's time now for our Nissan keys to the game. Well, familiar foe and Ricky Nolasco. You don't have to do a whole lot of scouting on him. And just put down Stay Hot, Dominic Brown. It's fun to watch.
Swing and a miss. Ball in the dirt. And Revere is retired. Strikeout on that slider that Wheels talked about.
You remember how many curveballs he throw. That's not that he won't throw his curveball, but evidently he's throwing more sliders than before. Slider will be a little bit tighter and a little harder. Now that that has some tilt to it, that breaking ball right there, but it's hard and it's not a curveball evidently.
Well, here's Michael Young, who's returned to the starting lineup for the first time since that final game in Boston against the Red Sox. He left to go back home to Texas, where his 9-month-old son was hospitalized. He is back home, and as Michael Young told everyone yesterday, he's back home in comfortable surroundings, which is a great thing. Michael .258 with 2 homers and 11 runs batted in. He's 5 RBIs away from 1,000 for his career.
Have a very different wind pattern. It's back to early in the year when it was cool here so many nights. It's out of the northwest. When it comes out of the northwest, as you see there, it's going to blow left to right. We haven't seen this in a number of games here because it's been so hot.
Well, temperatures are in the 70s, mostly sunny most of the day. It was a gorgeous day in the Delaware Valley. Outside with a curveball, 2-2. Freddie Galvis, he was taking a lot of ground balls today over at second base, getting himself ready for today's game. Swing and a miss, and Young is down on strike. So back-to-back strikeouts for Nolasco. That again was the slider. There's a difference of about 4 or 5 miles an hour between the slider and the curveball.
Yeah, and the curveball is going to have a lot. There's a slider. The curveball is going to have a lot bigger loop than the curveball, and as Tom mentioned, the velocity is going to be different.
Now Jimmy Rollins, who has 12 career hits against Nolasco, 2 home runs, his average at .264. Rollins was 0 for 2 last night, but he walked twice, which has been a growing trend for him. He's walked 9 times in his last 8 games.
Walking more out of the 3-hole than leading off.
The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Aurora Woodruff of Exton. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, and Aurora will win $100. Out in front of a curveball, and it's 1-2.
Nolasco's right around the plate right now with his breaking stuff. And when he is, he's tough. His fastball, he's going to use it to just kind of set up everything else. It's a decent fastball, but his out pitches are off speed, and they're effective here early on.
In the dirt, no appeal. And Jim Reynolds says no swing.
Little back foot breaking ball to Jimmy Rollins, who doesn't want to get hit on that front foot. There's the back foot breaking ball. If you remember on opening day, Bryce Harper hit 2 of them out. Almost an identical spot where he didn't get it to that point. He left it on the plate, and he had 2 long home runs in Washington off Nolasco.
3-2 to Rollins. Hits it the other way. Juan Pierre over toward the line. Makes the catch. It's a 15-pitch first inning for Nolasco as he sets the Phillies down in order. So both teams go down quietly their half of the first. On to the second we go. Philadelphia, why don't you come out to the ballpark to watch the Phillies wrap up the series against the Marlins? It's a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. 1:05 first pitch. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com, or you can stop by the box office at any point tomorrow morning. Top of the second, Marcelo Ozuna starts it off. Ozuna 1 for 4 last night. And he shows bunt and takes a pitch high. It's 1-0. That must have just been a decoy.
Yeah, he's not bunting.
Michael Young's not going to bite.
No.
Down the right field line. Delman Young won't get there, and it's into the crowd.
Plus, if you're Michael Young, there's no way you want to get closer to this guy. You want to back up a little bit, because he can hit some screamers.
We saw it last night. He hit that ball in the first inning to Jimmy Rollins at shortstop. I mean, he just smoked it.
Yeah, and then he hit a bullet past Freddie Galvis, who was playing third last night
for an RBI.
You know, you say, well, it could have been a double play. No, it couldn't. You have to see it before you can catch it, or throw your glove out there and hope it goes into it.
See where Michael Young is standing for this at bat, and it's inside. 2-1.
It just reminds me so much of Raul Mondesi when I watch him. A lot of his mannerisms, his body. Hasn't shown that kind of power yet that Mondesi had. And maybe he can't run as fast, but he just reminds me of him a lot.
Inside, 3-2.
That guy was some player.
Derek Dietrich on deck. These two guys are two of the pieces for the Marlins' future in some way.
Oof.
And there we go. That thing is scorched down the left field line. It's going to the wall. And Ozuna is on his way to second with a leadoff double.
Michael Young is happy he's back. Playing back instead of up on that guy. You don't teach what he has, and that's incredible bat speed.
Well, he has 11 doubles now. He's now 11 for 21 here at Citizens Bank Park.
Watch Young's reaction. Ball's hit, and he started to jump, and he thought, what am I doing? That thing's 20 feet over my head and rising. He watched those from the dugout last night. He's thinking, man, he does hit those hard.
Well, now Dietrich, a .233 hitter. He takes high, 1 ball and no strikes. Marlins as a team are hitting .227 this year.
They'd had Pierre at second, which appeared he was safe. They probably would have gotten him over, gotten him in, and lead 1-0. Now they're trying it again. Pierre was called out at second on that close play, and now they're going to try and get this guy over, get Ozuna over, and get him in.
Pettibone last pitched against the Marlins in May, early May, the 3rd of May, went 6 1/3, allowed 5 hits. That one's looped toward left field, and it's going to drop in front of Dominic Brown. He knocks it down. Ozuna's being waved home. Now he stops, and going to second is Dietrich.
Got to throw that ball to second base.
That'll put runners at second and third.
That's a mistake out there. You're not going to get the guy who's going to walk into third, and your play is to throw to second and keep the double play in order.
Well, they're going to score that a single and an E7 on Dominic Brown.
Here it goes right here. He's getting better, but he still stabs at some balls sometimes, and throwing it over to third base, no. Into second.
Now Casey Kochman, the infield is back, and Kochman takes a strike. It's 0-1.
And Kochman will try and pull here now and get one in and get another one over so they could get another run out of it.
So far 0 for 8. Again, he's just off the disabled list where he had a hamstring strain. Inside, 1-1.
Pettibone's had a lot of games with base runners. Last time the Red Sox got him for a big inning early, and then he settled down and didn't give up much. And he does strand runners. He's trying to do that in this inning.
Bouncer back toward the middle. That'll get a run home. Rollins will get the throw over to first. And it's 1-0 Miami. They took a 2-0 lead last night. So they take the early lead here. It'll be an RBI for Kochman. It's his first of the season. And over the third goes Dietrich.
Good job by Kochman. But see, now if Jimmy Rollins is playing a double play depth there with runners at first and third, that ball's hit right near the bag. You may get a double play out of that and a run scores, and that's it. Maybe. But he wasn't because threw to the wrong base.
Well, now the Phillies will play the infield in for Echeverria, who's 1 for his last 17. And he takes low, 1-0. Echeverria is 0 for 2 against Pettibone. Wheels mentioned Pettibone's last start. He allowed 4 runs in that game against the Red Sox. It was one of those days the Phillies weren't scoring. Pettibone's allowed 3 earned runs or less in all but one of his starts this year and during his minor league career. 45 of his 55 games have been 3 earned runs or less. Line drive, one hop, scooped up by Freddie Galvis. Dietrich froze a third of the way down the line. And Galvis makes a wonderful play over at second base.
An amazing play that he made. That's what he tried to do last night on that ball Ozuna hit. Just scoop at it and catch it, and wasn't able to do it. In this case, he's got a few less miles per hour on it, but he's closer. Wow, what a talent.
I think there was a point where Dietrich thought, depending on how hard he threw it to first, he might think about going home. There's a dribbler back toward the mound, so Pettibone gets out of this inning by allowing just the one run. That's a pretty good job. A run scores on a ground out. He leaves one over at third. We head to the bottom of the second. It's the Marlins 1 and the Phillies 0. On the field. Plus, we'll break down Dominic Brown's incredible power surge. Watch a new episode of Phillies Clubhouse Wednesday afternoon at 12:30 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Dominic Brown is due to bat second here in the bottom of the second. There's been a lot of discussion around the ballpark as to whether the Miami Marlins would retaliate from his long curl from home plate to first last night after he hit the home run, and then his bow to Ryan Howard, which he two have been doing since the season began. A little drama outside the lines. Ryan Howard will lead it off. Howard 254 with 7 home runs and 27 runs batted in. And Velasco's waiting for Ed Lucas, the third baseman, to go to the right side of the diamond. And you see the overshift. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That ball's hit well. Left center field. On the run is Coughlin out toward the track, and it's going to be caught a step from the track. And there's one away. I think the wind brought that back a little bit.
I do. Yeah. Here's Bobby Abreu with a nice little 3 home run game. The night that the Phillies really put it to the Cincinnati Reds. That was that stretch that he was in. And you see, with typical Bobby Abreu, they went all over the place, too. Right field, center field, left field. He can hit them anywhere.
That was back in 2005 when Abreu hit 9 home runs in 10 games. And Dominic Brown is the latest to do that. And the first pitch to him is a breaking ball grounded toward first. Kochman is there. 3 unassisted. And there are 2 outs. And Delman Young is coming to the plate. So 3 pitches, 2 outs here in the second. Delman was 1 for 4 last night with a home run.
He came up against Ryan Webb, who had just come into the game behind Kohler, and he threw him a first pitch slider, and he hit it in the seats in left field. We really haven't seen him pull a ball down the line like that since he's been here, and that was a breaking ball that he pulled. He's hit some balls hard to left center, especially in Miami, but not down the line like that.
Well, he has 4 homers in the last 12 games and 5 overall. And that stretch began down in Miami against the Marlins. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
Alaska really made good use of his breaking stuff tonight, his slider and curveball. He can do that. He can pitch a low-run game against you.
Shallow right field. Dietrich, the second baseman, is there. And he calls everybody off, makes the catch, and the Phillies go down in order here in the second. 6 up, 6 down. We've completed 2. 7-pitch inning for Nolasco. We go to the third with the Marlins up 1-0. Go to the fan section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Wheels, here we go. What 3 teams did the Marlins beat in the playoffs to win their first World Series in 1997? I mean, you know the last one, right?
Oh, yeah.
World Series. Just the other 2 you got to figure out.
Yeah.
Top of the third, Ricky Nolasco leads it off, and Pettibone fires a strike.
This guy in the Phillies dugout remembers that too, huh? We want to help the fans out a little bit.
He doesn't want to remember it.
No.
Nolasco's hitting 100. He's 2 for 20 this year. And he fouls it away. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. Down in Washington, the Nationals have taken a 1-0 lead thanks to an Ian Desmond home run. David Wright was hitting the helmet on a pitch from Jordan Zimmerman in that ball game, but he stayed in the game as Pettibone fires a strike to get Nolasco 1 out, and his first strikeout. Now we go back to the top of the order, and that means we're going to bring in Murph for a report. Murph?
All right, T-Mac, thank you very much. Well, all fans coming into Citizens Bank Park tonight getting the Carlos Ruiz bobble figurine. And some fans, well, they even got to get their figurine from Carlos himself. So pretty big thrill for a lot of fans, including a young fan named Matthew Brogan, who was the figurine was the 1 millionth given out by the Phillies organization. A gold-plated Carlos Ruiz figurine, and also a photo op with the catcher as well. So a nice day for Matthew Brogan from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, guys.
That is a great day. See that beautiful figurine. The 1 millionth given out here in Philadelphia over the years. Carlos had a couple of them. But also, before he did all that, Murph, he was busy out in the field trying to get himself ready to come back.
Yeah, a good day for Matthew Brogan and a good day for Carlos Ruiz. You're right. Over the past couple days, he has been running, working out that hamstring as Jimmy Rollins goes back on that pop fly. And Juan Pierre is out. he's been running a lot in the outfield before the games. He's also been catching in the bullpen, guys. And today he took almost a full batting practice. He was working in the cages, then almost a full batting practice. So Carlos Ruiz is getting closer to coming back. He believes he'll go out on a rehab assignment coming up next week while the team is away. And then when the team comes back from the road trip, they're hoping that Carlos Ruiz will be ready to go. So that is certainly good news, guys.
Very good news. And he was pretty upbeat about it all, as Murph just detailed. Ed Lucas takes a strike. It's 0-1. Spent a lot of time today talking to Cesar Hernandez, too. Ground ball foul.
Chase Utley was out there taking ground balls and throwing today, which was nice to see. Because before, for the most part, he would catch them and lob them, but now he's full throws.
And he was also doing a lot with Cesar Hernandez at second base as well.
There's Chase.
0-2 pitch to Lucas. A little high.
There you go. There they are working out there together. You can see him picking the ball up, throwing it. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you have a problem with your side, that's one of the ways you can come back, or one of the ways you look at and think, well, he's starting to feel better.
Lucas chops one back through the middle, and he has a base hit, his second hit of the series.
Annabelle looked at his glove to say, how'd I miss that?
He was a little off balance when he was coming back to it.
It's not easy. Well, that was a big old high hopper too, and that's why I think he thought he's so tall that he thought maybe he had a chance to catch that.
Third hit of night, make that the fourth hit of the night for the Marlins. Coghlan grounded out to second in the first. Low, 1 ball, no strikes. Coghlan this year is 4 for 23 against the Phillies, but for his career he's hitting over 300 against them. Freddie Galvis, perfect technique to his left, kept the glove down, throws out Coghlan, side is retired, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the third here in South Philly. Today by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Last of the third. Hello, everyone. Marlins up 1-0. Freddie Galvis, Humberto Quintero, and Jonathan Pettibone.
Alaska's making it look really easy right now through the first 2 innings, throwing his off-speed stuff, getting the jump at pitches. He got one jammer on a fastball for an out, the last out of the inning. Second inning.
Let's see if Galvis can change that. Galvis has hit it 4 straight, making his 27th start of the year. The curveball slipped out of his hand. It's 2-0.
thing about Nolasco, he's not afraid to pitch in this ballpark. Although they hit 3 home runs off him in the last game here.
Fly ball to center field. And Conklin comes running in.
Howard, Utley, and Brown all got him in that 4-1 loss.
Well, if you want to host your next special event at a special place, why not choose Citizens Bank Park? Many unique options for corporate or social events of any size, including the Diamond Club, Hall of Fame Club, and executive dining room, free parking, on-site catering, fanatic visits, and ballpark tours. Call 215-218-5100.
Phillies ever score in the first 3 innings against this team?
Well,
Doesn't seem like.
They don't score in the first 3 innings against many teams, although they did twice against the Brewers.
But especially this team.
Especially this team. Yeah, the games have been pretty quick the first 5 innings or so.
Still have a chance. There's only 1 out.
And Quintero's due, Wheels. Although he's 0 for 6 against Alaska.
He's a little bit, excuse me, Tom, but pull-off hitter. And this guy will pitch him away with that slider and curveball.
Out toward right field. Ozuna floats back. Yeah, there are 2 outs. Well, Wheels, we have an answer. Carl Graber has just given us the answer. The Phillies have scored 5 runs in the first 3 innings in games against the Marlins this year. That's 35 innings.
And there'll probably be several runs in 1 inning too. There's a lot of goose eggs up there for this team against the Marlins. Thank you, Carl. I knew it couldn't have been many.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Pettibone, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Pettibone 2 for 14 so far. He does have a double. He's walked a couple times. Breaking ball, 2-2. There are a lot of scouts here tonight, and you know, at this point in the year you'll see some more.
There are a lot there
as we get closer to July. Swing and a miss, and they might be here to see Nolasco, because he's one of the veteran pieces the Marlins still have left. And so far they've watched him face 9 and retire all 9. We go to the 4th, the Phillies down 1. only W.B. Mason delivers their fastball right down the middle 100% of the time. Order by 11:30 a.m. Receive your delivery same day guaranteed. Who but W.B. Mason? Top half of the fourth, Marlins lead at 1-0 thanks to a ground out by Casey Kochman. A rally in the second that was started by the guy that's going to lead this inning off. That's Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna has 41 hits since he was called up from the minor leagues. And that's the most among rookies in the National League from that time on.
I got to tell you, I mean, coming up, he's been a very impressive. I mean, just to hit where he's hitting would really show you that. Hitting fourth, I know they've had injuries on this team, but he certainly held his own. Not a lot of home runs, but in terms of seeing and recognizing pitches, he's been doing that.
Well, everything he hits hard. You know, he's, as you like to say, he squares it up.
Yeah, he does. Got somewhat of a open type of stance. See, and he does get back closed. That's what I talk about. When you're open and then you get back closed, well, he does that. When you look at Ryan Howard, he doesn't do that. And you have to be able to do it some in order to be consistent for me.
1-2 the count. Fanatic posing for some pictures. Another foul ball. It remains 1-2. Ground ball to shortstop. Well, he really tied him up.
That's just a good two-seamer running in right on his hands. And you can see that. That's that other problem. If you don't really get close, you can't recognize whether or not that ball is a strike inside or not. Excellent pitch, however.
Well, now Dietrich, who's singled to left his first time up. And he fights that one off out towards shortstop. Rollins is there. Give Pettibone credit. I don't know if he did any kind of adjustments or not, but the pitches to these last two hitters are very different than what he threw them in the first time they were up.
Yeah, huge adjustment, getting in on the hands of those hitters. What you like them to do, though, when they hit that ball, you want to hear kind of a thud, that where you know that he's throwing a heavy type sinker.
Casey Kochman has the RBI. It was a ground ball back toward the middle his first time up. He bends back on a fairly close pitch to the plate, not to him. 1-0. Pettibone entered the ball game 6th among rookies in wins, 6th among rookies in ERA. Not only that, he was 6th in innings pitched. So he's had a nice start to his major league career.
I think once they get here and realize that it's almost about the same where they came. The difference is you just got to be a little more, well, making sure you hit those corners as opposed to throwing that ball out over the plate.
Ground ball up the first base line. Pettibone thought it hit Kochman. He reacted a little slowly, but then picks it up and retires him with an unassisted putout. Nothing across for the Marlins. Pettibone seems to have settled in. Let's see if the Phillies offense can settle in. Let's go further. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies, and by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Home half of the fourth inning. Phillies have not managed a base runner yet against Ricky Nolasco. Nolasco has struck out 3. He's gotten 1 batter on a ground out. Everything else has been in the air, along with those 3 strikeouts. During the 2013 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Oh, and 1 the count to Revere.
Oh, Nolasco's pitched them the same way that he has about the last 2-3 starts, and that is usually coming up that first round, he goes to soft stuff. Second time he'll do that if you haven't hit it.
Well, what a way as Ben Revere hits it softly to second.
Well, and then he'll switch around and go with the hard stuff, what they usually do in the American League. Usually hitters, you're geared up for all the hard fastball, and Nolasco is a fastball pitcher. I think that that's just to get the hitters off stride, but for me, you look the other way for the soft stuff because he's done that so many times before when you face them, and you make them throw you the fastball by taking a lot of those pitches.
He's only thrown 36 pitches. This is 37 with 1 out in the 4th.
They're just throwing that fastball just to show and wanting you to hit the off-speed pitch. He hasn't made a mistake with one of them so far.
Outside, 2-1. Ground ball back toward the middle, and it's backhanded by Dietrich, and then he drops it. So that'll be the first hit of the night for the Phillies. And Michael Young with his first hit of this homestand. He did not play yesterday, hasn't played the last few days because he was back home.
Yep. And hit very hard, but good things happen. Everything has to be perfect when you hit that ball up the middle. You just have a little above average speed to be able to get that base hit. Fielder's got to field it clean, and make a good throw.
Rollins pops it up foul. That'll be out of play. It's 0-1. Rollins fly to left his first time up. Jimmy fights that one off, hits it out toward left center. Coughlin's on the run. He dives, and he made the catch. And Young goes back to first. Just robbed the Phils of their second straight hit.
Yeah, sure did, though. The jump he got on that was just excellent. The only way he catches that ball, as soon as it was hit, not a step backward, he was going forward, able to get a bead on it, make one heck of a play on it. Check him out as he comes in there. He's making up a little bit of ground, and boy, he catches it right in the air. Look at the concentration as he puts that glove right there on the ball. What a great shot. You can see it going right into the glove, and who likes it even better? Nolasco.
Well, now 2 outs. Young at first. Ryan Howard the hitter. Howard takes way upstairs. It's 1-0. Ryan hit one out toward left center field his first time up. Coughlin, when Giancarlo Stanton comes back, and he should be back soon. He has his first rehab game tonight.
Yep.
There's a thought that he'd move to left field. Coughlin will, and Ozuna will play center. But they could move Ozuna to left because Stanton's going to go back to playing right. I don't think they've totally decided it yet.
Yeah, I think Ozuna will probably be in left field for me. Coghlan there, still there in center field. Boy, but those two ends, left field, right field, you've got that covered with a couple of young power hitters.
There's a strike, 1-2.
See, that's a good pitch right there to be able to hit. Get your arms extended. The ball that he wants to hit is kind of really, for me, out over the plate.
There goes the runner, and the pitch is taken low. The throw to second sails, and Michael Young has his first stolen base of the year.
Actually stole that one right on the pitcher in the last go. Excellent jump. Little happy feet over there, but he's off and running. Steals that, even though that throw is way off on the right there. Just sailed on him, but that's what you want to do. Come off that bag, however, when that ball sails on you. Whether or not they want to come right at him, or whether or not he like to pitch to Mr. Brown with men on.
3-2 the count to Howard. 36 home runs in his career against the Marlins. Inside, ball 4. The Phillies have 2 on for their hottest hitter. He's been set up a few different times on this homestand alone. Brown swung at the first pitch his last time up and grounded out to first.
A lot of talk today whether or not that was over the top on that home run for Dominic Brown. Getting interviewed myself personally there on it. Yeah, my feeling is just simple, that a little bit over the top, but I have no problem with the enthusiasm of a young player. Kind of the same as a Papelbon after he strikes out a hitter there, which is just showing again that excitement and getting out a hitter.
Breaking ball hit foul, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. When we take a look at our Mazda leaders, and Dominic Brown sits atop the National League in home runs. How about Carlos Beltran?
He's been a good hitter for years. I mean, obviously, the only thing that makes him have a bad year usually is his injuries.
Here's the 1-1 to Brown. Fastball on the inside corner. Brantley really framed that one. But it's 1-2.
When you're swinging the bat well, you usually get the benefit of the doubt on balls that are that kind of high in the zone.
James Hoy, the home plate umpire. The crew chief, John Hirschbeck, at first. Bob Davidson at second. Jim Reynolds at third. The 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2.
Boy, I tell you, the way he takes the pitches, you just can tell the guy's locked in.
Well, that's one of the things that Charlie Manuel's talked about, is that he's recognizing what's a strike and what's not a strike.
Well, and that's the key to hitting. That's why he slowed his feet down, been able to see the ball and shortening up that swing.
Curveball lifted towards shallow left. Echeverria, the shortstop, backpedals, and the Phillies leave a couple here in the 4th. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left. We've completed 4. We go to the 5th. Chris Coghlan maybe saved a run for the Marlins. backyard. How's Jimmy Rollins' swing on the greens at Marion Golf Club? Watch an Open Challenge Saturday night at 6:30 and 10:30. Only on Comcast Sportsnet. Like that shirt Jimmy was wearing that day that he was out on the golf course.
Might need another club to get out of that trap, however.
How about that trap? I mean, there's no way you get out of that trap.
It's a tough course.
I'd hit it backwards.
Oh, boy.
Here's the 0-1 Echeverria. Fouls it off, and it's 0-2. Literally, I'd hit it backwards, and I wouldn't even worry about that lip right there.
Well, that's where that, that athletic pride comes in, that you're going to try and do the same thing that the regular pros would do.
Yeah, I'd hit it backwards and then chip up off the...
You know what? I might do that same thing, to be quite honest.
Here's the 0-2 to Echeverria. Down and away, 1-2. Jimmy said the guys he played with that day, Jay Wright, Jeremy Roenick, they really played well. At least he felt like they played well. I don't know what their score was.
Yeah. You better be able to have a low handicap if you're going to do well on that course.
Now it's 3-2 to Echeverria. Skips right past Galvis. It was hit sharply by Echeverria. And he has his first hit of the series. All right, Sarge, break down Jimmy Rollins' swing here. Nice technique. Just got to go through the rough a little bit.
Yeah, a little follow through there. Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, Jimmy, go the other way with it, buddy.
Oh, he almost just missed it.
I would have done just that. I would have picked it up and just flipped it.
But again, that's where the pride there. Uh-oh.
I would have done that, too.
Yeah.
The ball gets away from Quintero. It's 1 ball and no strikes to Brantley.
I think everybody that has played golf can sympathize for that.
No question. No question.
The harder you try, the more difficult it becomes.
There goes the runner. Pitch is taken for a strike. The throw to second base is dropped by Rollins. He was ready to punch him out.
Yeah. So you give him an error on that, or is that a stolen base?
I think you have to give him an error personally. I mean, it's a stolen base, but I think you have to give him an E6.
He had that out call as you'll take a look at it. Pretty good jump, I got to tell you. But check this throw out as he puts it right on the money there. The ball just kind of comes out of his glove. J-Ro not even realizing that, but it was there, though, before the runner got it there to the bag.
Off the end of the bat, a floater out toward left. Rounding third, heading for home is Echeverria. He's going to score. And the Marlins lead it 2-0.
That ball right off the end of the bat.
Well, Brantley had been 2 for his last 16. And he picks up the RBI single. And Ricky Nolasco will now try to sacrifice Brantley up to second. Nolasco takes a pitch outside. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Well, they're not going to give Echeverria a stolen base on that.
Well,
they're signaling caught steal. Now, I knew there had to be an error. I thought maybe they'd still give the stolen base, but I guess they can't. So it's a caught stealing E6. So the positive number goes to Quintero.
Quintero, right?
Either way, it's a run for the Marlins. That's a foul ball, and it's 2-1.
Kind of see the difference, though, in the way that Kratz throws, Quintero throws. He kind of gets up most of the time, where Kratz at times will throw there right in the crouch. For me, I think you get a little bit more on it when you're able to be up.
Pettibone will throw to first to get the out. Sacrifice is successful. 1-4. Back to the top of the order now for Juan Pierre.
Yeah, with a runner on, for me, you want that in the outfield playing in. You know, if he hits it over your head, okay, but don't want to be playing back deep. Soft single, and runner's able to score. So I'd bring in all my outfielders from Dominic Brown there in left field.
Well, Delman Young looks like he's too deep in right.
Well, for Juan Pierre, if you're thinking about trying to throw him out, yeah, we've seen him hit the ball hard, but if he hits it over your head from there, I mean, it's going to be almost off the wall. If you're playing up a little bit, if it's a base hit, you can cut that run off at the plate, or maybe he may not even go.
Line drive toward right field. Young coming on. It drops in front of him. Now Brantley holds up at third because he wasn't sure if that ball was going to be caught. And that puts runners on first and third with one out. MLB.com At Bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers Phillies baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit Phillies.com for details. Rich Doobie out to the mound to talk to Pettibone. Double play can get him out of this inning with Lucas, the next scheduled hitter.
Tell you what, if he'd like that strikeout or the ball hit right back to him. For the double play. Double play will work. Get him out of here. Just doesn't want to give up a long fly ball.
Now you got Brantley over at third and Pierre at first. And Lucas, who's 1 for 2 at the plate.
Definitely got to keep an eye on him. Just because he was thrown out does not discourage Juan Pierre from trying to take another bag. I tell you though, if I'm managing, I want to actually stay right there.
Pierre goes. The throw to second is not in time. He slid to the backside of second base and he avoided the tag of Galvis. And that puts runners on second and third.
Well, one of the things there too, I would rather have Lucas be able to hit, but once you still it, that's the only time it's a good play is when you do still it. Here's a guy that stole a lot of bases throughout his career. Boy, that was bang bang. Thought he was going to get him there, but you can see that hand as it got in there right before the tag. And if he gets on again, guess what? He's going to try and steal again, whether or not they're losing, winning or not. He continues to try and put pressure on the opposition.
Well, now the bases are loaded as Lucas draws a walk. That's the first walk issued by Pettibone. And now Coghlan will come up to the plate. Let's see how the Phillies play the infield.
Well, he needs that double play ball. Bad here.
Rhino's going to signal where he wants the infielders to go. Well, 2 means they're going to play it in and they'll make a decision as far as going home or turning 2 up the middle. Coghlan takes low, 1-0.
Well, I got to tell you though, if it's hit to third, it looks like he's going to
come home.
He'll come home with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think up the middle I meant the two. Like that's
2 for the middle.
Yeah, where they're designed, where they're set up.
I'd hope Brian Howard too is going to come home with that throw. He's getting into a danger count.
Only 9 first pitches tonight of the 21 batters he's faced.
Had to come up with a quality pitch here.
Swing and a miss, and 92 in a good spot. It's 2-1.
Great spot. Is that ball down and away? Doesn't always have to be a perfect pitch. Greg Maddox, I should say, would talk about that. He just wants to make a good pitch. That's why he was such a really great pitcher his whole career. And most of the time he was throwing perfect pitches as opposed to good pitches. Master of that outside part of the plate.
Popped him up. Michael Young is there in foul territory, now fair territory. Infield fly rule was called. And he made a good pitch. And there are 2 outs, but he does have to deal with Marcell Ozuna with the bases loaded.
Well, he jammed him the last time, and that was after going away early in the count. Something there a little bit off speed. Out in front of that is Cogner pops it up. Nice going there by Pettibone, getting him to swing at his pitch.
Ozuna's 1 for 2. He scored a run after doubling back in the second. Grounded out his last time up. Swing and a miss. It's 0-1. He went inside again against him.
Went inside, ball moving inside.
Ground ball, foul.
Well, doesn't necessarily have to throw a strike. Really 2 good pitches inside. Been having a little bit more success throwing the ball inside as opposed to out over the plate.
0-2 the count to Ozuna with the bases loaded. Another grounder foul. That'll sneak into the back end of the Marlins dugout.
Still, he's got to be conscious of that ball inside. He's been jammed on it already 3 or 4 times.
Well, this will be the 29th pitch of this inning for Jonathan Pettibone.
As long as he has it in there, he can't hit that ball fair there. He's going to have to either pull it, and if it goes fair, it's right on his knuckles and shouldn't go very far.
They go outside, and he lays off. They appeal. No, says John Hirschbeck.
Oh boy, what a great pitch!
That was a really good pitch. Yeah, he almost got him to swing at it, and it looked like it was almost a strike.
Well, that's what happens when you continue to throw a hitter inside. You can get him to almost check on a ball that would be on the outside part of the plate because he's trying to get that bat started.
Out towards center field. Ben Revere is there, and Pettibone is going to slide out of disaster one more time. He loaded up the bases. He did allow a run, but that's it. He leaves them loaded. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's only the Marlins 2 and the Phillies nothing. Washington Nationals. That first night is a Hatfield Phillies-Franks dollar dog night. All 3 games are at 7:05. Could be an important series, obviously, the way the Phils are sitting in the division. They're half a game behind the Nationals for second place. Go to Phillies.com to get your tickets for all 3 of those ball games. Nationals are playing the Mets right now. They've started a series with them. Mets lead at 2-1. Here the Phillies are down 2-0.
Well, he continues to throw those off-speed pitches. That one was a bit of a hanger.
That one too.
Yep. A little sharper break, but the one that's out over the plate, boy, just almost as if you're soft tossing. It gets so large. Still very manageable game. Only down 2 runs. They've been playing as of late. That should not be a problem.
Out of play, and it remains 1-2. Oh, nice catch by a gentleman who brought his glove. He is psyched to have it. Everybody high-five him.
All right, you got to like that, though. That's why you bring that glove to the game. He actually takes one away from someone.
All's fair, love and war, Sarge. And Hirschbeck says he didn't go. And it's 2-2. The guy next to him doesn't really seem that impressed. He's like, yeah, but look at all the autographs I have in my hat.
Oh, boy. Just throw it back.
Swing and a miss, a breaking ball. And Young is a strikeout victim. 4th one of the night from Nolasco. And with 1 out, Freddie Galvis is coming up. A reminder from Budweiser, great times are waiting. Designated driver. Galvis fly to center his first time up. 0 for 1. Sarge, we'd like to send best wishes out to Tom Dahl. Tom is about to have some surgery.
About to have some surgery. Really a good friend of one of my best friends, Gary Maddox. Just a speedy recovery.
Getting a chance to watch the Phillies tonight. I'm sure as he recuperates, he'll watch them a little bit more as we head out to Milwaukee.
One of our other friend that played here watches all the time, and that is Manny Trio. Told me to tell everybody hello. Oh,
what else
boy.
did he tell you?
Well,
come on, tell everybody what he said to you.
I don't want to go into that. I just, he's a real good friend, and he listens to all the broadcasts. And he threw in there at the very end. He says, "Boy, Sarge, you're starting to sound pretty good now." I said, "Well, what does that mean, there, Manny?" He said, "Oh, well, But again, one of my favorite teammates, great golfer. He's a guy that does not touch the ball until it gets on the green, period. No rolling, no nothing. Tees it off, and that's the way you're supposed to play it, by the way. So it's been playing with you and Larry, and I've learned how to kind of maybe roll them a little bit, get a little better lie on the golf course.
Me and Larry.
Well, we all roll them, right? I mean, we move the ball a little.
I have to admit, I have found myself moving the ball once in a while. Manny
Trio never does it. Never.
Murph, do you ever move the ball? I don't remember. Do you move the ball from place to place?
Never.
He says confidently.
That's not exactly true. But,
Well, we would have bought it because you said it with such force.
Oh, boy.
1, 2, 3, go the Phils. We've played 5. Phils still managing just that one hit. And that's it. swing is just heating up. Connecting for a .348 average and driving in 7 RBIs last week earned him Player of the Week honors in the National League. Dom Brown is swinging for success. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Changing the game. Somehow, Sarge, the Fanatic has more stuff than any child in the Delaware Valley. And he's allowed Phoebe to go out and play a little tennis against Dustin Palmaville. This is the 40th anniversary of Billie Jean King beating Bobby Riggs in the Battle of the Sexes. And when Phoebe was losing, she decided to take matters into her own hands.
Oh, boy.
Top of the 6th, and the first batter to face Pettibone is Derek Dietrich. And he takes a strike. Dietrich is 1 for 2 today. And it's 0-2. Seriously, the Fanatic must have a very large closet because he has more stuff that you would never use.
Pretty creative.
Broke his bat. A little pop up out towards second.
Oh, boy.
Another good pitch by Pettibone.
I gotta tell you, boys, just a lot of firewood we've been having so far at home, meaning a lot of broken bats. Wow. A lot of times you, at the end of the game, because you want your legs and so on to be fresh, you got to go on and put a lot of ice on them, ice them down. You got to put that on their hands the way they've been swinging. Got to ice those hands down. Don't want them to swell up.
Because he's jabbing so many guys?
Boy, I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like this. I mean,
so at a Major League scoreboard, the Pirates lead the Braves 4-2. That game's in the top of the 4th. Andrew McCutchen has a couple RBIs. Braves lead the Nationals by 7, the Phillies by 7.5 in the division.
You almost can't even think about anything until you get toward where you can get to 500. Once you get to 500, now you can kind of start to make your way. About the Houston Astros, 6 in a row.
How about the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and the way they've struggled?
Oh, boy.
Against the Astros. There's ball 4, and Kochman draws a walk.
And they have some tremendous hitters on that Los Angeles Angels team.
Well, the Angels have lost 4 straight. The Astros, as Sarge mentioned, they've won 6 straight. They're still 21-37, though.
Yeah, not the worst record in the league, but again, last place is last place.
Yeah, these Marlins are 16-42, and the Milwaukee Brewers 21-35. They are a few percentage points ahead of the Astros. Grounded foul.
You couldn't get in out of the innings, though, but you just don't want to continue to fall behind on the hitters.
Some of these pitches are awfully close.
Yeah.
He's just not getting the inside part of the plate. Joe Savory's starting to throw. Pettibone's at 97 pitches. He's due to lead off the bottom of the 6th. So this is probably his last inning, and they're trying to get him through this inning without allowing any more runs.
He's put himself in a running count, too.
Ground ball towards shortstop. That should be 2. There's 1. Can Galvis make the exchange? He does, cleanly, as Kochman falls to the ground about 6 feet short of second base. 6-4-3 in the double play. 11 ground ball outs for Jonathan Pettibone. We head to the bottom of the 6th here at Citizens Bank Park. Great offers on our most innovative lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. By Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Marlins are up 2-0. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Phillies haven't managed much at all against Ricky Nolasco. And Nolasco will face a pinch hitter to start the inning. Jonathan Pettibone's evening is done. Kid did pretty well. I mean, he did allow 7 hits, but he worked out of some jams.
Well, that's what you call pitching right there, and that's how you judge players a lot of times when things aren't going well for them. Pettibone able to battle through.
Franzen bunts it foul. Lucas was playing back behind the third base bag.
Yeah. Looking to try and get on any way he can here.
Jeremy Horst is in the bullpen for the Phillies.
Got to start to put together some hits. Not going to beat many teams with just 1 hit. Nolasco not overpowering at all. He has mixed his pitches up tonight.
Just backed up curveballs.
Mostly curveballs. Again, you know, I talk about staying on the fastball. It becomes a time when common sense comes into it, where you'll sit on one of those breaking balls when you don't have 2 strikes. I think every one of the hitters have gotten that.
Check swing on the 2-2, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ben Revere's on deck.
We'll probably get that sinker for sure now. Usually with men on base, and if a guy had a chance to hit it out, like Dominic, he threw him a 3-2 hook.
Outside, ball 4. Base runner to start the 6th of the Phillies. Second walk issued by Nolasco. Let's check in with Murph. It's time for the Major League Notebook.
All right, thank you very much, T-Mac. Yes, brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy College. And the Cleveland Indians will be without their all-star shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera for a while. He is headed to the DL with a strained quadriceps. He had an MRI today. Terry Francona said he could be out up to 4 weeks. And hey, we got our first look at the National League All-Star voting today. And no big surprise, last year's MVP in the National League, Buster Posey, is on top of all the voting. starting. Justin Upton from the Atlanta Braves, number 2, and then Bryce Harper from the Washington Nationals is number 3. Now, the highest voted fill so far is Chase Utley. He is in the top 3 for second basemen. Don Brown, though, is not even in the top 15 right now for outfielders. So we got to do something about that, Philadelphia. What are you laughing at, Tommy?
Nothing, Murph. I understand it is Carlos Ruiz bobble figurine night.
It is. Yes, it is.
Ed Lucas cuts that ball off, and Franzen blows up Dietrich. There's one out here in the 6th.
We talked about that already, Tom.
That it's bobble figurine? Yeah. I was just wondering if you were trying to really push the point home for some reason.
I'm missing your point.
Okay. I think maybe about midnight tonight when you're driving home, you'll figure out what I'm talking about.
I see what you're saying, because of these gentlemen next to me.
What gentlemen?
Yeah. These are the Broad Street bobbleheads, by the way.
Oh, are they?
And they are here every bobble figurine night here at Citizens Bank Park. I'm the guy in the middle, by the way. They don't talk a whole lot. I just wanted to be clear for our viewers.
I'll tell you what, they have tremendous dental work, though. I mean, they do a great job keeping their teeth clean.
They really do a nice job with that. We should get them up on the smile camera.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Somebody's laughing with you, bro.
Yeah, they're laughing with us.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're not laughing at you, they're laughing with you.
Oh, boy.
1 ball and no strikes to Michael Young. Sarge, if you said it once, you said it a million times.
Just can't beat fun at the old ballpark, I'm telling you. Oh, boy.
Want to know the count to Michael Young. We'll keep Revere close over at first.
Well, he has the speed to be able to steal a base, and again, if he gets the jump, should be able to steal it. But you know, as a base runner, when you get ready to leave or take off, whether or not you've had that jump.
A ground ball to third. This might be 2. And Kochman can't hang on. Sunday, June 23rd, when the Phillies and the Mets get together for a 135 game. All fans 14 and under receive the Cliff Lee T-shirt. It's compliments of IBEW Local 98. Order tickets for that game at Phillies.com. There's the T-shirt. Has the Phillies with camouflage in the front. And, of course, Cliff Lee's number 33 on the back and the IBEW Local 98 logo. Rollins is 0 for 2. The other problem the Phillies are facing is that Nolasco, who's only allowed the 1 hit to Young, he's only at 75 pitches. This will be the 75th right here. He's around for a little while.
A lot of off-speed pitchers early in the count. Mike Fields haven't been able to square a lot of those pitches up.
Boy, that is a beautiful shot right there.
Good night to really get some hits and to win a ball game.
Michael Young has stolen a base tonight. Phillies have had 1 base runner in scoring position. That was Young back in the 4th.
Look for a ball in a certain area, put a good swing on it.
Just not giving him a fastball.
No, he hasn't given in at all. And even when he throws that slider, he's had it really in such a good spot. Kind of down and in. Left a few balls out over the plate, but not a lot.
Two pitch. Outside, 3-2. Young's going to be off on this next pitch. Kochman will play behind him at first. Michael Young goes, and that pitch is pulled toward right. Ozuna was playing that way. Literally was playing that way.
Yeah.
And he makes the catch. No runs, no hits, and one man left. We've played 6. On to the 7th we go. Marlins hanging on to a 2-run lead.
Stuff never gets old. Time for your local Honda dealer's game summary. Well, Ricky Nolasco is doing his Bronson Arroyo impression here tonight. Slow, slower, lots of breaking balls. Great job dazzling the Phillies. Rob Brantley has an RBI hit. Michael Young is back in the lineup, has the Phillies' only hit tonight, and it was technically an infield hit when you think about it, because it was knocked down by the second baseman Dietrich. And Pettibone did a nice job here tonight. Jonathan did, and we're already in the 7th inning. It's not even dark.
We showed that shot over left field. It's kind of dusk here in Philadelphia. Jeremy Horst has the count. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rob Brantley. Look at that shot right there.
It's June and the days are officially getting longer. Huh? Middle of June, June 21st will be the longest day of the year.
And the Phillies will be here in Philadelphia that day. In the dirt, 2-1 the count. And as far as Pettibone goes, Wheels, you're right. I mean, 2 runs, 1 earned.
Yeah.
2 walks, 1 strikeout, 6 innings of work. He scattered 7 hits.
This is a typical game of his, and then you look up and there's base runners, and not a lot of them score. Well, this is a situation the Phillies have been in so many times this year where they just don't score much, and now they hope their bullpen can hold it close and give them a chance to win, as opposed to letting the other team add on where you can't score enough to get back in the game or win it.
And a called strike 3. 91 from Horst. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They will receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. Ricky Nolasco's the batter. He's 0 for 1. He sacrificed his last time. 1 ball and no strikes the count to him. Phillies will have Howard Brown and Delman Young due up in their half of the 7th inning. Trying to keep this at a 2-run deficit. Hope the offense can wake up against Nolasco, who just helped Jeremy Horst out there with that foul ball. It's 2-2.
I mentioned earlier, Ricky Nolasco is not afraid to pitch in this ballpark. Now, a lot of pitchers don't like to come here, especially over the years when the Phillies had their real good offense, because it could score and it's small and the ball will fly here. But this guy has a feel on how to pitch here, and he's been very effective.
And he went around, according to the home plate umpire James Hoy. Back-to-back strikeouts for Horst. And Juan Pierre's coming up. Every time the Phillies retire the opposing team 1-2-3, which Jonathan Pettibone did one time. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long. Today we were doing a taping of Charlie Manuel's TV show, and Tino Martinez, who's the hitting coach for the Marlins, was sitting out behind home plate enjoying a cheesesteak. And he and Charlie were shouting back and forth. Charlie said, "I'd love to see you hit." And Tino said, "I have been hitting in the cage." He said, "I'd love to hit here." And it's obviously because of the dimensions in a certain way, but he also reinforced the reason he'd like to hit here. He said, because look at the crowds every night. He said, this is a great place. He said, you know, last night there was a lot of energy in the ballpark. It was kind of neat to hear just an opposing player, now coach's perspective of playing in this ballpark.
And that's the guy that played in World Series and World Series years and all those years at Yankee Stadium when it was sold out with a lot of energy.
Galvis has to hurry in time to get Pierre. He cut it off and was able to throw with enough on it to nail Juan Pierre. And it's a 1-2-3, top of the 7th inning. Juan Pierre didn't think he was out. Freddie Galvis on the run. Did he get him? Looks like he did by a hair. Time to stretch. All right, Wheels, here's a tough one for you. What three teams did the Marlins beat in the playoffs to win their first World Series in 1997?
I wrote my answers.
You don't remember what you wrote?
Yeah, I do. But I forgot what order I put them in. That doesn't matter, though, does it?
Well,
all right. It was the Giants.
Giants are correct.
Braves.
Braves are correct.
And Charlie's Indians.
And you almost said Charlie's Angels.
No, I didn't.
Charlie's Indians, yes. Nice job.
Thanks.
Did you go down to the dugout and ask Charlie what the correct
No,
answer was?
that was the first thing, as you know, that came up that I threw out, and you knew what I meant.
Ryan Howard leads it off here in the bottom of the 7th. Phillies have one hit because Ricky Nolasco has done that all night. One breaking pitch after another. Curveball, slider, changeup.
Yeah, he did it right out of the chute. This is effortless tonight. It reminds you a lot of that game Bronson Arroyo pitched here. Now Arroyo throws a lot more real slow stuff than Ricky Nolasco does, but he pitches the same way. Uses his fastball just to set up everything else.
Did it twice against the Phillies.
Yeah,
once there,
twice.
once here.
Right. And the game here, he just was brief.
There's a bullet. Ozuna got turned around, reaches up, it's off the scoreboard. And Howard will get to second with a leadoff double. Second hit of the day. 15th double of the season for Ryan Howard.
Yeah, he really crushes this, as Tom called it, a bullet. You see it down on the bat a little bit, and put the top spin on it. And that made it come down in a hurry. Ozuna, that was really a hard play for him to try and get to the wall, reach up and get that thing the way it was diving. They're talking about Billie Jean King in tennis tonight. That was a top spin lob right there. Only one a lob. It was a top spin BB.
Dominic Brown out in front of a curveball, and it's 0-1.
Hard to stay back from that curveball of his. He's always had a great hook, using, as we mentioned earlier, a lot more sliders, but he can go to that curveball at any time. Got to get one out of this. No Dominic Brown. Oh, that's a tough pitch to call on him there.
He's had 2 of those tonight that has restructured the at bat for him.
Yeah, that fastball last time up that he said tail over the plate. It was high.
So now 0-2 to Brown with the runner at second.
Hitting a lot of home runs is great. Now you need situation hitting to get Howard to third.
Outside, 1-2.
And Nolasco throws him away there to try and make it harder to pull it.
Time now for our Geico quote of the day. We've been talking a lot about Dominic Brown. Here's Dominic on his hitting philosophy. I'm not really big on numbers. I kind of go off my at-bats. I go and watch my at-bats every day and see which ones are good and eliminate the bad ones and just keep improving it, not giving at-bats away. That's really the main objective, not giving any at-bats away.
Right. And right now he's trying to battle Nolasco to make something productive out of this. Good job. Stay off that hook. Even though that's a pitch that's easy to pull, it's also one that's easy to pop up or swing and miss at.
They can't decide what pitch to throw. It's 2-2 now to Dominic Brown with a runner at second. Nolasco delivers. Breaking ball. Took another close pitch.
Yeah.
It's 3-2.
Another curveball, too. This is what he did last night before he hit the home run on that 8-pitch at bat. He got a changeup. Still don't think this guy's going to give in to him here.
Not with first base open. And as hot as he's been. The 3-2. Breaking ball pulled foul.
Yeah, another hook. That was a slider, I guess. Board says it threw that one a little bit harder. Both have so much loop to them. A lot of curveballs in this at bat. And a little harder breaking ball. And oh, that was a pitch to really crush.
We'll do it again. The 3-ball, 2-strike pitch to Dominic Brown. Breaking ball. And he hits it foul.
That is timing a little bit right now, though, and Nolasco knows that. He's really trying everything he can to get his timing a little bit more messed up. Good hitters, and when they're hot, we saw it the other day with Lucroy. They foul off tough pitches.
Last night it was an 8-pitch at bat. Tonight, this is the 9th pitch of this at bat to Dominic Brown. Fastball. He got him with 92 up in the zone.
Good job by Nolasco after all that slow stuff. Throws a fastball and it's probably ball 4, but it must have looked like a balloon coming at him. That's a veteran pitcher won the battle. Yeah, that's ball 4. But tough pitch to take with 2 strikes, especially after all that slow stuff. hard to get upset with a guy with a 9-pitch at bat. He really did battle. Fortunately, nothing happened there when you really need one run out of this. And they would have played their infield back if he could have gotten him over.
Delman Young is 0 for 2. Struck out his last time. And he hits one toward left center field. That's pretty well hit. Coghlan going back. That one is off the wall. Played well by Coghlan. Howard will score. Up to second is Young. It's a 2-1 ball game.
That's where he's hitting those balls in Miami. That fan looked like he reached over and I guess didn't touch it because there's no call out there. But he hit balls just like that in Miami to deep left center field. You see, he's looking out there too, wondering what happened. Velasco got after him with a slider there, and he really nailed that one.
Right through his hands. And Coghlan made a nice play. That wall was on an odd angle, and it came off quickly, and he was able to jab at it and stop it from getting past him.
Now they got that one. Let's get another one.
Here's Galvis up. Galvis takes inside. If Galvis reaches, they'll probably pinch hit for Quintero. Chad Qualls available tonight. Michael Stutz of the Phillies bullpen. Eric Kratz, you see him with his hat on backwards out on the stairs. He's ready to run back in to be ready to go into the game if they need him. Curve ball.
That was a little late getting to the plate.
Looks like a member of the knothole gang.
That's right, looking through the knothole.
Got him with another curve. Slow and slower. 6 strikeouts from Velasco. And there are 2 outs. Quintero will bat. At least it looks like he's going to bat.
Velasco gives a little leg kick too. Maybe hitter see that leg kick and not pick the ball up as quickly.
Well, Quintero has been called back. Kratz comes running in.
He's going to need some oxygen before he goes up to hit.
He's going to have his adrenaline going though, Wheels. Heart's going to be racing. This is like a warm-up coming in from the bullpen.
Well, you know, they wish they'd have gotten him in, that he'd been in there sooner so he didn't have to run all the way in. But the out's made there, and now they run him in. See him? He's taking some deep breaths in there. Umpires are cutting him a little slack, too.
Well, they waited. They acted as if Quintero and Charlie Manuel were having a conversation. And that gave him some extra time to run in from the bullpen. So Kratz, who has swung the bat well over the last few weeks, will get a chance to bat with a tying run at second base. Surprised they're not using Mayberry to pinch run here. Figure he may go into the game for defense.
Yeah, but there's 2 outs and it's only the 7th inning.
Okay.
And you're behind by a run.
Save the batter for later
so
on. Okay.
You know, if you're ahead, or if that's a go-ahead run, think more about it, because then you're thinking more about defensing because you're ahead in the game or you have more of the potential to go ahead. So I think that's what they would say.
Kratz, 7 home runs, 17 runs batted in. He's hit in 3 straight. 5 for 18 on the homestand. And he gets a curveball. It's 1-0.
Yeah, here's that home run that he hit last night. That really helped ignite things. That got the Phillies on the board, and then Kyle Kendrick followed with his triple, and all of a sudden the crowd was really, that's what Tina was talking about too. Martinez, how loud it got here last night. And they're starting to get the crowd into the game a little bit right now because fans had nothing to cheer about all night. Except outs when Pettibone would get them with men on.
Phillies with a couple of hits in this inning, both doubles. Looking for a little bit more. The count is 1-0 to Eric Kratz. Kratz gets a curveball. They call it a strike. It's 1-1. Fastball.
Oh man, flip a coin. That was late.
That was late. And it was low. Or maybe not.
Where it crosses the plate and across the knee.
Would have been outside too.
He really wasn't emphatic on it.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Kratz. Young leads off second. And Kratz sends one the opposite way. Ozuna going back to the warning track toward the wall. He jumps. It's off the top of the wall. Young scores. Kratz pulls into second, and he has just tied this baby up with an opposite field pinch hit double.
First base umpire John Erspeck was way down the line out there to get an angle on that to make sure it hit the padding and then came back. Called it right away that it did and stayed in play. And how about the Phillies with 3 doubles in this thing? Look at this thing take off. Eric Kratz sprints in from the bullpen and then does this. Here it is right there off the padding and back into play. Ozuna gets to the wall, jumps, but no chance to jump that high. There's another look at it. Tie game. What a job by Eric Kratz to come in there and second wind as he gets into the dugout and then goes up there and battles and gets that double. And that looks like that's it for Nolasco, who pitched so well here tonight.
Yeah, they're going to go with the left-hander, Mike Dunn, who will take over for Ricky Nolasco. So a pitching change. 100 pitches for Nolasco. Dunn is coming in. Phillies have tied the ball game up. Lance Nix was introduced as a pinch hitter. We'll see if he'll bat against the lefty when we come back. An AT&T call to the bullpen. Here at Citizens Bank Park. Tickets could be purchased at Phillies.com. And the Phillies take on the Washington Nationals. Ricky Nolasco was cruising through 6. Here in the 7th, the Phillies have hit 3 doubles against him to tie the ball game up at 2. He's done. Mike Dunn is in the game, 1-1 with a 3.24 earned run average.
And now we go back to that strategy you were talking about, Tom. Now they will hit Mayberry. They can leave him in the game because it's at least tied. Maybe he can give them the lead, and then you'd have the better defense. And unfortunately, you have to use 2 players for 1 move here, but at least you're going to leave this guy in the game.
guess the Phillies have used 4 players, including Eric Kratz, who just doubled to tie the game up.
Who also stays in the game.
Correct. They used Franzen earlier in the night. So they have Cesar Hernandez available off the bench, a switch hitter.
Yeah, they've blown their bench right now, but they had to because they're coming from behind. The Marlins are ahead in the game, and they haven't had to use their bench.
So Nix doesn't get a chance to hit tonight. He would have if Nolasco stayed in the game. So it's Mayberry against Dunn. Dunn, hard throwing left-hander. They play Mayberry the other way in the outfield.
Big gap in left center field for a right-handed hitter. Look at that, how they're overshifted and giving him all that room right out here in this area.
Dunn has not performed all that well in this ballpark. 6 1/3, 5 earned runs. That's 9 games. Some with the Braves, some with the Marlins.
Got a hard breaking ball there, heading the count.
Mike Adams in the pen.
The whole game was changed here in the 7th inning by catching up at home like this, getting Nolasco out of the game. Horst pitched a scoreless inning to keep it where it was so he could catch up.
He picked up 2 strikeouts too in that inning.
A lot of positives right now. Kyler really shallow in center. He's taking a chance that if the ball's hit in front of him, he has a chance to throw Kratz out at the plate if they try to score him. See how shallow he is. Figure if they hit it over my head, he hits it over my head. I'm going to go for the play at the plate here.
Now the 1-2 pitch coming to Mayberry. Tried to hold up. According to James Hoy, he did. They appeal, and he went around, says John Hirschbeck. And the side is retired. But the Phillies tie it up. They get 3 doubles in the inning, including a pinch double by Eric Kratz to tie the ball game up. Well, he got his heart rate up. There's no doubt about that. His adrenaline was flowing, and he shot that ball to right off the brick. The cement in right above the scoreboard. That tied it up against Ricky Nolasco. And now we go to the 8th. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEF now for an appointment. And by Acura. Acura Advance. Kind of a quiet night in Center City. Not so quiet here. The Phils have they've made it a little louder as they tie this game up in the bottom of the 7th. John Mayberry stays in the ballgame after pinch hitting. And he's in right field. Mike Adams will commit to the game to pitch. Adams in his 22nd ball game. He'll bat 6th if you're keeping a lineup back home. And he'll face Lucas Coghlan and Ozuna. Eric Kratz stays in the ball game to catch. He pinch hit for Humberto Quintero. Lucas was 1 for 2, or is 1 for 2 tonight with a walk.
Where they got Adams in the offseason. Pitch the 8th inning. Now you're in a tie game. So important if you get out of this with the bottom of the 8th inning, go up there with a score tie.
I'd have the top of the order
right.
due to bat against the Marlins bullpen. Out toward right center field. That'll be in for a base hit. Mayberry's going to try to cut it off and does. Lucas thought about 2, but then stops. That's a really good job by Mayberry.
Kept the double play in order.
Lucas is now 2 for 4, and he's 3 for 6 in this series. And now Coghlan, who's 0 for 3.
I think whether they would bunt right now, personally I would think they want Coghlan to pull the ball with a hole open on the right side and a right-handed batter on deck.
Michael Young is in on the grass at 3rd. He's creeping in some more.
Well, they have to watch for it, so they do a throw over to see if he'll show anything. He didn't.
Now if he were to sacrifice, let's say, and Lucas gets the 2nd, the Phillies would walk Ozuna, you think? I mean, he is a rookie, so maybe you do go after him.
I'd pitch to him. Then you have a left-handed Dietrich on deck.
Okay.
I don't know, but I just think Coghlan will swing here for those reasons that we're bringing up.
Well, he is the hottest hitter for the Marlins. And he is going to swing away, and he takes outside.
Especially with him being left-handed and a runner at first in that hole on the right side.
Michael Young still, though, is in on the grass on the offside at 3rd.
Yeah, you just can't give up that he won't do it, and you get surprised by it. That's what they throw over again. Yeah, he's getting restless because he's got the game. They've worked so hard to get the game right where they want it, and they don't want to see it get away right now.
Coghlan helped him out there.
Fooled him. Off speed 2-0, Tom. Oh, it was a fastball. Boy, that must have really sunk. It looked like it was off speed to be that far out in front.
And it is 2 balls and 1 strike.
What they've run here. Good running count.
Not a big lead for Lucas. He doesn't go. Broke his bat. Ground ball right side. Galvis has a play at first. He gets the out. So they do get the runner up in a scoring position. And 1 away for Marcell Ozuna.
And Adams made a really good pitch on him and cut it inside to him. Now they're going to talk to Adams. And also, I think Jimmy's going to come in here and just find out what they're going to do with this guy. Whether they're going to come after him, what they're going to use, because it'll help him defense.
A lot of head nodding going on. Coming up on Sports Night, we'll have highlights of this ball game, plus analysis and reactions, and the latest on the Eagles' mandatory minicamp. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Chevy Malibu Sports Night after first game live, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Ozuna's 1 for 3. He's doubled and scored. He's grounded out. He flied out to center.
Freddie Galvis has to come in there and take a peek, keep that runner at second.
Swing and a miss. They threw him a slider. It's 0-1.
But they're going to hope right now that they can rely on how aggressive he is against a veteran pitcher.
Bad spot for that fastball. It was nearly on the inside part of the plate.
Well, they have been trying to pound him in a little bit tonight.
I thought Pettibone did a really good job of adjusting after the first couple of innings. I mean, he kept coming in to a lot of these guys.
Yeah, because a lot of those pitches he was throwing, if he hit him, he was going to pull him foul.
Here's the 1-1 pitch coming to Ozuna with a runner at second base. And Adams turns back just to keep Lucas close.
And sometimes they want another pitch when they do that. Can do both. That hit him. Oh, foul ball? Where did it hit him?
I was going to say it hit him.
Sounded like a thump.
Now they want an appeal. Adams does. They want an appeal to John Hirschbeck to see if he swung. And they appeal, and he says no swing.
Boy, he's wearing that elbow guard, and that's what that thump was.
He held his swing.
Yeah, he didn't swing at it. And he was hit by the pitch.
Looks like it missed that elbow guard and hit the other elbow.
It does. Heard that thump and thought it hit that.
He's on. Dietrich is the batter. Dietrich is 1 for 3. Dietrich popped out to short and popped out to second in his last 2 at bats. They set up to try to turn 2. Takes outside. It's 1-0. Cutter, and it's 1-1. So late movement on that pitch. It was up a little bit in the zone. Phillies are trying to pull this one out, hoping the Pirates pull one out against the Braves. The Braves have tied that ball game up. Another cutter.
Same pitch and up. Trying to back. It looks like he's trying to backdoor him with it, and that one got in the middle.
Here we go again. The count 1-2 to Dietrich. Throwing 3 straight cutters there.
Yeah, and they may go out and talk about let's do something else or try a different location.
Play Dietrich the other way in center and left. And he hits it the other way, but foul. Dietrich has reached base safely in all but 2 games since being called up for the minor leagues. 22 of 24 games.
Yeah, he got a nice little compact swing.
Ground ball toward the right side. Howard has it, doesn't go to second, goes to first, and there are 2 outs. Boy, Ozuna was moving pretty good up towards second base. I think Howard made the right call. I don't think he would have had a play at second base.
No, and that's a second out too. Now you can walk Kochman to go after Echeverria, and here comes Charlie out to talk about that with him. Kochman's pretty good contact hitter. Echeverria more of a young player and a free swinger. And even though you load them up with no wiggle room, kind of think that may be what they're talking about, where they're going to go that way.
I think he just said I can go get him.
Yeah, well, they always do. Here it is. This is the right play. You know, you're going to get the second out, and you see where the runner is. If you don't make a perfect play on that, and you're tied right now, too. So that was all right. We'll see how it turns out.
I thought Ozuna was closer to second base when I said that. You know, maybe
it's angle too.
Yeah,
that's that angle.
Well, they are going to pitch to Casey Kochman with Ozuna at second and Lucas over at third. And a 2-2 game.
See if they're trying to make him go fishing.
Right after him.
Yes. Cut a little bit, got it over. Rolling the dice here, see what happens. If they did talk about pitching around him, that means they're going to, they're trusting a veteran guy not to get hurt here. You get a very veteran hitter at home plate, although he's a little bit rusty. That kid is very aggressive. Those are 2 really good breaking balls because, or pitches inside, because if he hits them, they're going to be foul. And he may swing over them or jam himself and get the third out.
Two and one, the count to Kochman. And he grounds one back toward the middle. Galvis is there, slides, pops up, throws, dug out by Howard.
Whew.
Wow is right. Kochman, of course, is not a fast runner, so Galvis realized he had some time, but how quick was he? To slide, to pop, and then to make the throw, and what a great play by Howard to finish up the inning with a little scoop over at first base. Tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today. Well, Mike Adams' day is done. You see him wandering around the dugout. He held the Marlins scoreless in their half of the 8th. Let's see what the Phillies do against Mike Dunn here in the bottom of the 8th. Nice bunt by Revere. And a good play by Lucas, but not a good play by Kochman, who dropped it over at first. And the go-ahead run is aboard.
He's a really good first baseman throughout his career. As you said, Tom, that was an excellent play by Lucas, who anticipated the bunt, was under control, made a strong throw, and he just drops it. Look how quickly he's on there. Look at him get his feet ready to throw. Little crow hop, a little bit low, but still a play that Kochman. Oh yeah, he just missed it right off the heel of the glove. Big break. I don't know if you bunt him here or not. You know, the way he's been hitting into double plays is a little scary, but how many times do you think Michael Young has bunted?
That's a good point. They do score that in E3 all the way, so Revere is aboard. Michael Young is at the plate. Papelbon's warming in the pen. He does show bunt.
The other thing is if you bunt him and you move him over, then they can walk Rollins and then go left to Howard and Brown with Dunn.
Last sacrifice back in 2003.
I thought it might have been a while.
Well, he's a student of the game, though, Wheels.
Only 10 years. You know, if he wasn't hitting to so many double plays, I don't think they do this because of what I just mentioned. You're going to get these left matchups.
That's a good point. Papelbon seems to be fully healed from the stomach flu. Now they take it off, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
They got Lucas' attention at third. Love to watch major league players, just like when we played. You know, they get the sign and you see them put their head down like, okay, what did I just get? You see his eyes go down.
Plus, he doesn't want to give anything away.
Right, exactly. You know, there have been players over the years, and I won't name any of them, but they would react when a hot sign would come on. And, you know, back in the older days, you know, they would watch for really study signs of the thing, and they look for an indicator. So they would see something, the guy would react, and they thought, oh, that's a hot sign, we got it.
Revere short lead off first. And Young takes strike 2. It's 1-2.
Pretty good breaking ball. He thought it was high. Now he's swinging.
Ground ball toward third. Flag down by Lucas. His throw to second is in time, safe at first. Oh, now they're saying that Bob Davidson, I don't know. No, Bob Davidson is saying that Ben Revere interfered at second base.
He went in head first.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to figure out why he went in head first, but he was right at the bag, unless he used his hands.
That's the only thing I guess it had to have happened, because he was around the second base bag. So Young is out. Revere is out. There are 2 men down here in the 8th inning.
Because I'm trying to figure, why would you go into second base head first on that play when you're trying to break up a double play? Now, whether or not he used his hands or his arms, what else could it be?
Well, Bob Davidson was emphatic. Let's take a look at it and see what happened.
What a play by Lucas to start it. Did he grab his leg?
Nope.
No, he didn't. He didn't grab his leg.
Just went in head first.
That's all he did. First, which is, you know, not the way to do it, but how is that interference?
It's not interference. It's not interference. I mean, it would be the same way if he went in feet first and knocked the player down.
Now, if he put his hand up high and went after his leg,
or grabbed his leg or something.
That's whatever.
It's just a bad call.
Well, it's looking for something that wasn't there. That's all it is. Pure and simple. why go in head first anyway?
Well, that is true. You don't normally do that. You're going in feet first to break up the double play. Want to know the count to Rollins with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. And it's 2-0. They know what they're talking about. They understand. They understand better than most.
Yeah, and where it's filtered down, you know, it's what happened after the replays and all the TVs around here. One good.
3-0 pitch to Rollins. Outside, ball 4. So now lefty on lefty with Dunn facing Howard. They're going to move Ozuna back. Listen to this. This is great. You don't think they're vested? Seriously.
Yeah, well, there wasn't much going on here for a few innings tonight, and it got good the last couple. There's been so many neat things with strategy and potential stuff. It's been fun. Love these kind of games. We can run on Dunn. Whether Jimmy Rollins will do it or not, we'll see. There are 2 outs, so, and they're going to play their outfield and no doubles defense. Don't hit it over your head. There you see it. Take a couple hits here. Dunn's times are not real good, so you can run on him if you pick the right pitch, and he'll throw a breaking ball in the dirt once in a while too.
Ryan went up to the high fastball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Most in the majors. Boy, this would be a good time to add to that total.
Well, these guys have faced each other quite a few times.
The 1-1 pitch to Howard. Out toward left field. Juan Pierre is there. He makes the catch. Wait to hear the boos for Bob Davidson now. Phillies get a couple base runners. They leave 1. We've played 8. On to the 9th. And there's more than one. Look at this play by Freddie Galvis. This one, well, saved a run in the 8th inning. And a nice play by Ryan Howard on the backhand. So you have Galvis and then Howard. Now, how about this by Lucas? Lucas fields it cleanly, and then Kochman just dropped it for an error. And then a play that they'll talk about for days to come here at Citizens Bank Park. Lucas makes a nice play. The double play is not in order, but second base umpire Bob Davidson says that Ben Revere grabbed the leg of Derek Dietrich, and he called both Revere and Michael Young out for it. He's saying he saw it, and he's saying that he saw him hit his leg. I don't know. You've seen the replays over and over again. It just didn't happen. Brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. We go to the 9th inning. And Jonathan Papelbon is in the game. Papelbon will try to secure a 2-2 game and give the Phils a chance to win it in their half of the 9th. Now, in between innings, John Hirschbeck, the crew chief, went over and had a conversation with Bob Davidson. I think he said he saw it all the way. Now, obviously, I don't read lips for a living, but they had a conversation about it. And I think Hirschbeck, is the crew chief, just wanted to get an idea.
Well, he's been booed before.
Bob Davidson? Yeah, he's used to it. Hirschbeck to your left, Davidson to your right. Well, they all have. It's part of the game.
Sure.
It's just that, we looked at the replay over and over again. We saw it with our naked eye, and it just didn't seem like there was any contact by Revere except for trying to break up the double play. He didn't grab anything.
Right.
Which is what we saw Davidson signal.
Right.
Echeverria is the batter. He's 1 for 3. Popped him up. Galvis hustles over. He's going to call off Ryan Howard for the first out.
It was nice when you see him going near a ball, isn't it?
With authority, too.
As we talked about, they have a full bench. The Phillies had to use up their bench to do all these moves to get close and to tie the game. So Greg Dobbs will come out there, one left-handed bat.
Brantley is 1 for 3. Yeah, the pitcher spot is due up next. Chad Qualls is warming in the bullpen. Outside, 1-0. There's Qualls. Cishek is there too.
If they get the lead, Cishek would come in. If it's a tie game, it'll be Qualls. Maybe. But that's the way they've been doing it. Sounds like old times around here.
Yeah, that's great. It's great.
Yeah, this game got really good from the 7th on, didn't it?
Doesn't seem like it's over yet.
Oh, no.
Here's the 2-0 pitch coming to Brantley. Laid on a fastball. It's 2-1.
Jonathan Papelbon do what he does well here, and you got walk-off potential coming.
Speaking of walk-off potential, the Nationals have walked off with a victory over the Mets. Steve Lombardozzi hit a sacrifice fly that drove in the winning run. The Nationals were down 2-1 in that ball game, and they wound up winning it 3-2. Another foul ball. 2-2 pitch coming again to Brantley. And a call, strike 3.
Brantley doesn't think it's a strike. He thought it was outside. It was close, especially with 2 strikes, but he's been back there all night thinking, we haven't been calling that a strike, have we?
Well, great reactions from behind home plate. The fans here at Citizens Bank Park, 38,000 plus, they cheered and then they started booing again and chanting against Bob Davidson. Now Miguel Olivo will pinch hit instead of Greg Dobbs with 2 outs.
Well, this is their best chance for a long ball, and that's why they're going to bring Olivo up, and he'll be swinging. Well, he'll be swinging really hard on the first pitch normally. So you don't want to throw him a strike where he can reach it on the first pitch.
Olivo 197 this year, 3 home runs, 7 runs batted in.
Deep in the outfield, guarding the line at third, and he will let it go. I mean, there are some things in life that are just a given, and that was one of them.
But he's going to swing at the first pitch.
Oh yeah, so he threw him a splitter. Especially in this case where he's sent up there to hit a home run. That's what he's thinking anyway. Don't have to challenge this guy because he'll just keep hacking.
One ball, 1 strike to Miguel Olivo. No appeal? No, says John Hirschfeld. They're going to add him to the list, too.
You know, I think he got that right. It didn't look like the bat went through. His body went kind of crazy. Let's see if the bat goes.
I thought he went.
See, the bat
body went.
Yeah, the body went. He held the bat back. I think he got that thing right. It's amazing, though, that Olivo didn't swing at that time, the way he swings.
Now 2-1 to Miguel Olivo with 2 outs here at the top of the 9th inning.
We've seen a lot of Olivo over the years, and boy, he's dangerous. If you hit his bat, he can really hit one. He doesn't have any swing except as hard as he can swing.
Got it. A 1-2-3 top of the 9th inning for Jonathan Papelbon. He does his job. A couple of strikeouts along the way. So now the Phils have a chance to win it in their final at bat. And the National League's Player of the Month will lead it off. Phillies post-game live. You know, we've been talking and looking at the rule book about why Bob Davidson would have called Ben Revere out for interference, because he certainly hit the bag with a head-first slide. He did hit it to Dietrich, but it was as if he slid feet first and hit it to Dietrich. We thought maybe they'd call a roll block if that was the, if that was the reason why he called him out. But looking at the rules, and it's 7.09 or 6.05. Here's the play we're talking about. There's no real roll block there because he slid first. A roll block means that you don't slide first and hit the dirt. You just basically roll right out into the fielder.
And all he did is momentum just kept going forward. It wasn't like he lifted up and tried to do anything. But,
it happened.
He saw it. He saw it one way, and that's it. And now go win the game because it's still tied.
Yep. And Dominic Brown will lead it off against Chad Qualls. Qualls, who last year pitched to begin the year with the Phillies, has had much more success this season with the Marlins than he did last year with the Phillies. I don't think he was available to pitch yesterday. They have some kind of a stomach bug going through the clubhouse, but he's available here today. And he'll face Dominic Brown. Cesar Hernandez, you would assume, because he's the last bat off the bench, and the pitcher spot is due up next.
And Qualls has been one of those guys the last few years. He's thrown a lot of high sinkers for home run balls. And that was his problem here. He could throw really hard still, and he still was a great sinker. Slider's a little bit of a roller. As you said, Tom, he's been a lot better here this year for these guys.
Dominic Brown is 0 for 3. Takes outside. It's 1-0. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, as we mentioned before, the Mets have lost to the Nationals 3-2. Steve Lombardozzi's sacrifice fly was the difference in that ball game. The Braves and the Pirates, meanwhile, are in the 8th inning. That game's even at 4. The 1-0 to Brown. Inside, 2-0.
Well, as Tom said, there's one move left on the bench, and that's Hernandez, the switch hitter, who's on deck batting for the pitcher in the 6 hole.
Yeah, Mayberry's in the 9 spot.
All right.
3-0.
Very patient. Good job by Dominic Brown, who will get a 3-0 green light.
Charlie just gave that signal where he had his right hand with the palm facing the ground and just floated it forward.
Why not? Even if he would have, well, you don't want to make a bad swing 3-0, but you got to give it to him.
Ground ball back towards shortstop.
See, he got himself out there. That's a shame. He got too anxious. That was not a good 3-0 pitch to swing at because it was away. You have to cut the plate in half there and take it middle in and go for it there. Not where he swung at it. Watch where this is. It's a sinker running away from him. It's a ball you hit a ground ball on a lot of times. A learning experience, hopefully.
One out for Cesar Hernandez. Pinch hitting here with a .217 average. 5 hits and 23 at-bats.
Well, now you're out of extra men. You're going to win the game. You're headed for extra innings with no bench.
Time for Cliff Lee to get his spikes on.
Yeah, and your best relievers are gone, too.
A dribbler right side. This will be a tough play. Dietrich can't make the play. Hernandez is safe. That'll be a base hit for Cesar Hernandez.
Yeah, with his speed, once it got by Qualls, no chance. Here's a look at it. He just dribbles this. Qualls not real fast coming off the mound. In fact, he went straight to the bag. He didn't even have a chance to catch it. And now the second baseman, Dietrich, he can't get a guy who can run like that.
Elvis is hitless in 3 at-bats. He's hit in 4 straight.
Need the hole open for him on the right side so he can shoot one through.
Chance of Freddie in the background.
Two guys that really know each other, grew up with each other from Venezuela, where they love to make something happen here, huh? Hernandez and Galvis.
Played Little League Baseball against each other.
Yeah, they've known each other a long time. Good job staying off that. But you can't do much with it.
Drive, base hit it to center field. The winning run is in scoring position. Hernandez holds up at second, and here comes Eric Kratz. Part of the great storyline already tonight, because it was his pinch hit double after running in from the bullpen that tied this game up at 2 in the 7th.
Yeah, you have to get the oxygen for him coming into the dugout, and then he went up and hit that big double at the top of the wall. And it's our WB Mason delivery of the game. Tom just talking about Eric Kratz. Got this pitch away from him a little bit by Ricky Nolasco. It's close to a home run. Goes right off the top of the wall. That's a huge pinch hit to tie it up.
WB Mason delivery of the game. Let's see if he can deliver again.
Good speed at second. The outfielder's coming in now.
Kratz asked for time. In the dirt, blocked by Brantley.
Good play, huh? Brantley. What a good play that was. Qualls bounces this up there, and he just sells out and blocks it with his body. People left this one.
No, it's a great crowd. One 0 pitch coming to Kratz. Broke his back. Roller toward third. Picked up by Lucas. There's one. Galvis is unable to get to Dietrich, so it's a double play, a 5-4-3 double play, and we'll go to extra innings. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left. Antonio Bastardo is next up for the Phils as we hit the 10th. 1-0 going to the 7th. They tied it with 2. They had a chance at the bottom of the 9th, but unable to push the winning run across the plate. So we head to the 10th. Miami 1-4 in extra inning games. The Phillies 2-1. The Phillies haven't played an extra inning game in quite some time. And they'll turn things over to Antonio Bastardo, who's in his 25th ball game. Bastardo has walked 13 in 20 innings of work. Well, the last extra inning game was out in San Francisco on the 8th of May, so nearly a month. That went 10 innings. The Phillies wound up losing that ball game. Bastardo will face the top of the Marlins order. It's Juan Pierre, Ed Lucas, and Chris Coghlan. A couple lefties.
Jack Walls just made a great pitch there at Kratz. 96-mile-an-hour sinker right on his thumbs, and he really jammed him. He never got out of the box. That was as good a pitch as you can make in that spot. It's the way he used to be when he was really a quality relief pitcher. He could throw heavy, hard sinkers.
5 2/3 against the Phillies so far, with no runs allowed this season.
It's what the Phillies thought they were getting when they got him for that year that they hoped, but he just couldn't do that.
So hit or miss sometimes with relievers.
Right. I don't know, maybe he wasn't well. He went to a bunch of teams after the Phillies had him. It was the Yankees, Pirates at least.
Yeah, last year, yep.
That pitch he threw to Kratz is as good as you could throw it.
0-2 to Juan Pierre. And he stays alive, fights it off. Pierre does have 2 hits tonight in 4 official at-bats. Dominic Brown will give that a look, but it's out of play, and it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes to Pierre. 38,000 plus here tonight on Carlos Ruiz Bobble Figurine night, as Ramos warms up in the bullpen. As mentioned before, not many have left.
This game was in the 7th inning and it was still daylight.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden stuff started to happen. A lot of changes. Really got good after the 7th inning, at least for the Phillies.
Ball was just to our left as it took a bounce in front of the walkway in front of the radio booth. Charlie Manuel looking over his lineup card. There's not much to change except for the pitcher. He's got nobody left.
He just look and see what they can do.
2-2 pitch to Pierre. Down low, ball 3.
Pierre knows Bastardo now. He can struggle with his command, and he's working the count there on it. Working this at bat, trying to get on.
Ball 4. He just worked out a walk to start the 10th inning. You mentioned Bastardo has had trouble with the walks this year. That's his 14th. Think Pierre's going at all here? They're going to sacrifice him up to second.
It'll be interesting to see because you have a left-handed hitter Coghlan on deck. If you sacrifice here, then you can walk him. I mean, go after him. You have to look for a bunt here, Tom, and then see if they do let Pierre run early.
He bunts toward first. It's a fair ball, and Howard will tag him out. So the sacrifice is successful, 3 unassisted. And Coughlin will come up against the lefty Bastardo.
You can see your way through here, but they can still hit. If you were to get him out and walk Ozuna, they can still hit for Dietrich with Ruggiano if they wanted to go that way. Now, whether Polanco's available or not, I don't know, because he was ill. He was in the original lineup tonight, and then they scratched him. I see the original one, the one they sent over first to the clubhouse.
Pierre, oh boy, was he really dancing off second. He was thinking about going to third.
Sure. Well, he made his living doing that. And this year, when he tries to steal third, he's 5 for 5.
Including his 600th career stolen base.
See, he knows Bastardo so well that he put that at bat together against him, and he also knows that he's slow to the plate and he'll forget sometimes about runners at second. Juan Pierre's so smart, let alone when he's played with a guy.
Want to know the count to Coughlin. Oh, he's got a big lead off second. He needed to do that.
Yeah, you got to stop him back there. The only thing you have in your favor is you have a left-handed hitter and a clear shot to throw. But Bastardo's all over the place, and it doesn't mean you're going to get an easy pitch to throw on if you're Kratz. Look at that. 90%. Well, he's 100th this year.
Juan Pierre was a good player to have on your ball club. The Phillies understood that before, and even more so after he was with them last year. So many times you sit there and just watch him, just watching the game from the back of the dugout, the corner of the dugout. And there he goes. Pitch is taken for a strike. The throw to third, not in time. And Michael Young just made an amazing play to stop that ball from going down the left field line.
And that was going to happen. With Bastardo on the mound, he's going to steal third base, or he was going to make a heck of an effort. And as you said, what a play by Young. Tough play for Eric Kratz. You see the pitch right there. It wasn't a hard pitch to handle, but that play by Young,
great jump,
saves the game. Yeah. Well, he knows him so well. It's not like he's studying the pitcher for the first time.
Phillies play the infield in a 2-2 game here in the top of the 10th. And Bastardo is capable of striking out a hitter. Got him. It was a hanging slider, and he fouled it off the glove of Kratz. Ozuna's on deck. 1-2 the count. The go-ahead run over third. See if he can get him to fish after one here. The 2-2 pitch. In the dirt, gets away from Kratz. Here comes Pierre. The throw to the plate is not in time. And the Marlins take the lead 3-2.
Give Juan Pierre that run.
A wild pitch after a walk and a stolen base. And the Marlins lead it by 1 here in the top of the 10th.
Charlie just go back against it. Kratz blocks it, but then it bounces away. And Juan Pierre is going to be safe. Oh, he was starting to go in head first, and then he saw he could go in standing up, and he did.
Patched it all he could, too.
Yeah.
After he got to that ball, he threw it awkwardly to home, but he got it to home.
A little hook shot there.
Out toward left center field. Ben Revere will make the catch. And there are 2 outs.
He can reach back once in a while, can Juan Pierre. And that was the type of run he has scored so many times and manufactured in his great career.
So now Marcell Ozuna with 2 outs in the top of the 10th. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Ozuna's 1 for 3 in the game. Liner down the left field line. That's a fair ball going to the corner. Where the ball really does just jump off his bat. And he's at second base with his second double of the night.
Keep it to 1 run.
Yeah, the Phillies in their half of the 10th will have Mayberry, Revere, and Michael Young due up.
They're 7 spots away from the pitcher having to bat with no extra men. So that's why it's really important to keep this to 1 run.
Dietrich is 1 for 4 in the game. He singled in his first at bat. Out towards shallow left. Rollins and Brown are out there, and it's Brown who comes in to make the sliding grab. And the side is retired. But Juan Pierre manufactures the go-ahead run for the Marlins. We go to the bottom of the 10th. It's the Marlins 3 and the Phillies 2. The go-ahead run for the Marlins. Juan Pierre went to second and then stole third and scored on a wild pitch. I mean, he probably knows how many times he's done it during his career, but he's probably done stuff just like that hundreds of times during his major league career.
Sure. So it's kept him in the big leagues all these years, what he just did. And his knowledge of who was on the mound, too, and the things he could do.
So now Steve Cishek, who has 5 saves for the Marlins this year. He's 1-4 and earned a run average of 4.24. And he will face John Mayberry, Ben Revere, and Michael Young. Those are the first 3 for the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the 10th. In a 3-2 ball game, the Phils were down 2-0 in the 7th. They scored 2 that inning. And now down by 1. Charlie Manuel and Mick Billmeyer We're talking about the top of the 10th more than about the bottom of the 10th. Mayberry struck out his only at bat. I say that because there's not really much they could talk about with the bottom of the 10th because they don't have anybody available.
Right.
So it's up to these guys to try to tie it or win it here in the home 10th. Mayberry at 256 for the year, and it's 1-0. Now Cishek is not lights out as a closer. He has a tendency to walk some guys. He has 11 walks in 23 1/3. Mike Redmond's team has only won 16 games this year. 4 of those wins, though, have come against the Phillies. And they lead it here in the 10th. Well, just like Pierre in the top of the 10th, Mayberry needs to get on to start something here. Send this game to the 11th worst case scenario. Now the 2-2 pitch coming to Mayberry. Hits it in the air to left center field. On the run is Coghlan. Out toward the track it is. Gone! Mayberry just tied this ball game up here in the bottom of the 10th inning.
A double, but to think that thing was going to leave, that's amazing. That thing just kept going and going and finally got into the seats. I figured it was going to hit off the wall and going to have a leadoff double. Boy, he crushed that ball. There's another fastball looked like too. He kept throwing fastballs away, and that looked like another one out over the plate. Let's see, it's a sinker.
Cishek knew there was damage done on that one.
Oh yeah, well he knew he had a runner at second for sure.
So now Ben Revere will try to start the rally all over again in a 3-3 game here at the bottom of the 10th. And Aurora Woodruff of Exton, hope you stayed up because you just won $100. Compliments of the McDonald's home run jackpot. 0-1 the count to Revere, and he takes low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Usually play these two when you have these kind of games with a day game the next day. This thing's fun tonight.
Phillies will take it, though, if they can pull out a victory.
Oh, there's been a lot of good stuff here tonight.
Some clutch hits, too.
Yep.
Kratz, Mayberry right there. And Revere hits it softly to shortstop. Echeverria is there.
Here's John Mayberry. Look at the extension he gets here. That's really a good swing. Right on the barrel. Good weight shift. Everything about that. And right into the front row. That guy almost made a good catch, but not quite.
And for that home run, and each one hit by a Phil's player this year, 1 tree will be planted by the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society as part of Home Runs for Trees, a partnership between the Phillies, PHS, and Aramark. Visit phillies.com/redgoesgreen for more information. Michael Young takes a strike. Young has a hit, 4 at-bats. He was the one who hit that. It turns out to be a 5-4-3 double play in the 8th inning. Such a controversial call by Bob Davidson, the second base umpire. Whether the Phillies would have scored in that 8th, who knows, but they weren't given a chance at that point. And it's 2-1 to Young. Well, we said Cishek was not lights out.
Yeah.
Second blown save of the year.
One thing that's fatal for closers is if they can't keep the ball in the ballpark.
Dan Jennings in the bullpen.
Everything's away from him right now. Michael Young loves the ball away. You know, you almost have to look out there if you're Young, because that's where he hits everything. And every pitch is away.
There you go, and he shoots it down the right field line. That is a foul ball.
Well, there's no reason to look for anything inside from Cishek. This one's away, and he gets it off the end of the bat a little bit. The sicker came running back to him. How much foul is it?
A couple of feet.
Yeah. Same thing's coming probably, either breaking ball or fastball away. There's the catcher sliding out there.
He pulls it towards short. He missed his spot. And there are 2 outs.
Phillies will need a new pitcher.
Yes, Stutz has been throwing in the bullpen. Rollins fooled on that pitch, thinking fastball. He got a slider.
Yeah, he's going to try and end it there.
The 0-1 pitch will have to wait. And Cishek asks Rob Brantley to go through the signs one more time.
Jimmy Rollins were to get on now, which you hope he could, they could walk Howard and Brown, because then you get to the pitcher spot with no extra.
That's a good point. They do have Jennings warming up a left-hander if they want to bring him on to face Howard.
They don't have to.
1-2 the count to Rollins. And the pitch. Popped it up. And out of play. Nice extension by that guy right there. He was taller and longer than everyone else.
June 23rd, 2010. That was Kerry Wood, wasn't it? Yeah, with the Indians, right down the line.
That was in the 9th inning. It was a 2-run home run. Now the 2-2 pitch to Jimmy Rollins. Low, ball 3.
There's a 2-2 breaking ball on him.
Works out a walk. It's his 11th walk in his last 35 plate appearances. And let's see what Redmond does here.
Yeah, well, he's going to go get the left-hander, as you said, Tom. You would think. And then he has to decide what he wants to do, whether he's going to pitch to them or walk them, and then see what the Phillies do with the bases loaded and no extra men left. Well, that's always dangerous. You load the bases up when there's no wiggle room for a guy.
Well, and you figure Cliff Lee is the guy that will pinch hit. At least you would assume that. Here he comes. He asks for time, walks out. Jennings, the left-hander, has been throwing in the pen.
Would he walk? Would he leave Cishek in to walk the 2 left-handed hitters?
He just asked for it.
He just asked for him?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
So Cishek is done. Jennings will come in. And we've got a pitching change. Phillies have tied it up here in the 10th, and they're looking to win it when we get back. Tenth inning against Steve Cishek. He got a pitch out over the plate, and he did not miss it. Third home run of the year for Mayberry.
Watching that more and more in the replays. Did he cut that away from him? It was a fastball. It's hard to tell. Didn't move much. And he did crush it.
Now the Phillies are hoping they get one big swing from Ryan Howard. Dan Jennings in his 6th ball game. Down at AAA, Jennings was 3-2 with an ERA of 1.80. He had 25 innings under his belt. Howard has doubled tonight. He's flying out to center. He's flying out to left.
Left-handed hitters 2 for 9 off him.
Inside, 1-0. They do have the overshift on with the second baseman Dietrich in shallow right. And the 1-0 pitch. We'll have to wait as he throws over to first. Outside corner, it's 1-1. 91 with that fastball from Jennings. Jennings, a 26-year-old. Howard waves at a breaking pitch. It's 1-2. Outside, Rollins goes. A delayed steal. The throw to second. He is out at second base.
Get his hand in there.
Big Jimmy thought he got his hand in there. He said something to Bob Davidson and then shook his head. So Ryan Howard will lead off the bottom of the 11th inning for the Phillies. Let's take a look. Here's the replay. The tag. It looked like he may have gotten him. It's kind of close to tell. We go to the top of the 11th. Trying to steal to finish up the bottom of the 10th. Immediately after this ball game, Ricky Vitalico is hanging on. He'll discuss what went on tonight between the Phillies and the Marlins on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post-Game Live. So Michael Stutz in his 5th ball game, 5 strikeouts in 6 of the 3rd. And he will face Casey Kochman to start the top of the 11th. Well, here's another look at that play at second that we were talking about. And Echeverria right there. We didn't tag him, it looks like. It looks like his hand was in.
Yeah, you can't tell if it hit his on the forearm or not.
Just a little bit.
Because the tag was down between the arms.
It looked like he missed him. It looked like his hand was in there. Yeah. It's close, and the angle was odd.
But, yeah, it's a tough call.
Well, now it'll be Kochman, Echeverria, Brantley, and then the pitcher's spot is due up after that. Kochman has walked tonight. He has an RBI, but he checks his swing. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Freddie Galvis with an easy opportunity, 1 out. And here's Echeverria. Echeverria scored a run back in the 5th. Don't forget, Ryan Howard will lead it off in the bottom of the 11th inning. It'll be Howard, Brown, and then the pitcher's spot. Be kind of intriguing to see what Charlie Manuel does. I guess it'll depend on who's in the ball game to pitch for the Marlins. Left-hander, maybe it's Kendrick. Right-hander, it's probably Lee.
Again, if you get 2 outs and nobody on base, and he wants Stutz to pitch 2 innings, he'll hit. And you get any of those kind of things where you just have to do some things you don't want to do.
There they are.
Kendrick said, "Why not me? I tripled last night."
Oh, 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Echeverria.
Stutz slammed his glove that time because he knows he just threw a pitch up in the zone that could have really been nailed and wasn't, and got away with it. A lot of people here.
Yeah, 38,000 plus on hand tonight. Good amounts have stayed.
They've been rewarded with a fun game.
Phillies didn't have a whole lot of offense for the first 6 innings, but then they woke up. It's 2-2 to Echeverria. Lays off, and it's 3-2. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, no extra innings in Boston. Red Sox crushed the Rangers 17-5. Third time the Red Sox have scored 17 runs or more against the Rangers. Down the right field line, Mayberry will give it a look.
Talk about teams that can hit. Saw that note last night. The Braves have hit 3 or more home runs in a game this year 13 times. That's amazing. But that's what you figure they were going to be. Hit a lot of homers. Strike out a lot.
The Red Sox and the Rangers kind of built that way in some
Sure.
ways.
Sure.
Rangers not as much as in years past without Napoli and Josh Hamilton and guys like that. Michael Young. Out toward right center field. That's pretty well hit. Revere on the run out toward the track. Tracks it down. And there are 2 outs. And here's Rob Brantley.
Yeah, here's the play. He's coasting after this and catches it. That ball's in the air a long time. They were playing him towards right center. And, well, it has to be caught. And it was.
Dobbs is out on deck for the Marlins. He was out on deck earlier. It was pulled back. Brantley takes low.
They have another left-hander. They have that Olmos, who pitched last night.
Yeah, we mentioned it before that he was up and throwing in the pen.
So they can hit and not worry about having Brown and Howard up without a left-hander available. Advantage having 3, and they just added the 3rd guy for this series. And leaving Savory back as a long man tonight.
Two and two. A lot of hands had an opportunity for that foul ball. Just couldn't grab it. There's almost.
He really a good fastball last night.
Two and two the count to Brantley. Trying to check his swing at a slider. I guess he did. So it's 3-2. Dobbs out on deck. He's played a lot this year. They're trying to find another first baseman to give him a little bit of a respite from time to time. He's probably played a little bit more than he needs to.
And then now they have Kochman back. He'll play a little bit.
Ground ball off the glove of Stutz. Rollins gets to it, throws, not in time. And that'll be a base hit. If Stutz hadn't tipped it, it still would have been a base hit.
Yeah, would have been a clean hit up the middle, it looked like, because it was hit pretty hard. Jimmy almost made a heck of a play on that with that catcher running. Here it is. Fastball away, and Stutz thought he had it. Now Rollins comes in, throws across his body that flip of his, and he got a lot on it, and Brantley beat the play.
Greg Dobbs, a .218 hitter, has 2 home runs this year, 37 hits overall, is the active major league leader in a number of categories. Out toward right field, and Mayberry is there. And he waits, and we go to the bottom of the 11th inning, still tied at 3. The Phils will get another chance to win the ball game. Ryan Howard will start it off for the Phillies when we return for the home 11th.
This is Bank Park, and a game that really got fun after they hit in the 7th inning, or while they were hitting in the 7th inning. And you think walk-off home runs? Well, this guy can certainly do it. Ryan Howard coming up, and there's the last time that he hit a walk-off home run. When the Phillies did it 3 times that weekend, they had walk-off wins against the Cincinnati Reds. And there was Ryan Howard hitting one out to left center field to win the ball game. And here he comes. He'll lead off the 11th inning with Dominic Brown on deck, and then the pitcher spot to come up, Tom, with no extra men.
So we'll see what the Phillies do with the left-hander Edgar Olmos warming up out of the pen. If we get to that point.
That was Arthur Rhodes, I think.
It was Arthur Rhodes.
Right? Yeah.
Somebody brought his name up the other day asking what Arthur Rhodes was doing. I said at this point he's probably just enjoying life.
I hope so. He's a good guy.
And enjoying golf.
Yeah, he loves golf. Oh, that he loved golf. And should be a success out of the game, too.
Almost last night, an inning and a third.
Howard grounded out to second, and Brown got a base hit to right off it.
They called him up from Double-A yesterday. He was 4-2 with a 1.27 ERA in 19 games. He had 1 save in 2 opportunities.
Jennings was in one of those weird positions where he could have been the pitcher of record without retiring a batter.
Yeah, really.
Because of Jimmy Rollins being on that caught stealing.
Well, here's the first pitch to Ryan Howard. Oh, big fastball and a big swing, 0-1.
This guy did have a big arm last night. Man. You know, he does in back-to-back games. That first pitch was just fine.
That one's hit well. Deep to right center field. It's got some spin on it, and Ozuna's going to make the catch.
I thought he had a double when he hit that.
I thought it was at least off the scoreboard for a double.
It just died, though. He must have got it down on the end of the bat.
Well, it had some top spin on it. He didn't have the back spin that he needed.
Yeah, it's down off the end of the bat a little bit. Just didn't go anywhere. Just died.
Yeah, Ozuna had to come back for it.
Yeah.
There's Edgar Olmos' family in attendance.
When that left the bat, they weren't real excited. They were just glad to see that baby dying out there in the outfield.
Last time the Marlins were in town, it was Marcell Ozuna's family who was here. Off the plate. Right side. Almost can't get it, and Brown safe at first.
When you're hot, you're hot.
They're going to score that a base hit.
Keep this inning streak alive.
I'm sorry. They're going to score at E1.
Yeah, okay. It was an error.
Kyle Kendrick is going to bat for Michael Stutz.
Here it is right there. He gets to it in plenty of time, and it just kicks off the webbing of the glove. And they scored an error. Right-handed pitcher, Lee would have hit. Left-handed pitcher, it's going to be Kyle Kendrick. And they, even though there's one out, they're going to look for a bunt just in case.
As Brown leads off first.
There you go. And he showed it before he even moved over to first. I see you never, hardly ever bunt with one out. But in this situation, when you're in this kind of a game and you have a pitcher up as a pinch hitter, you may do it to try and catch some 2-out lightning if you get the runner to second in scoring position.
Kendrick bunts foul. Brian Sandberg laying down some signs. Kyle was the winning pitcher in last night's ball game. Had a triple.
Whoa. Brantley's reaction. Here's that triple last night. He crushed this ball. They're playing a little bit in right center. Then it hit and skidded to the wall. Now right there he started to swim a little bit as he came around second. He told Murph after the game that third base looked a long way away.
Sure did.
After he rounded second.
Charlie Manuel hoped he learned his lesson about his head first slide after the game. Kendrick bunts it foul again.
They really need him to try and get that bunt down there. See if they give him the hit away here or try one more time.
And he bunts it back toward the mound. Almost looked at second. Now fires to first. The sacrifice is successful.
Good job.
Yep. That'll go down as another point for Kendrick in the competition. The pitchers hitting competition. They were going over that today with Steve Henderson.
Again, congratulations there as you get the 2-strike bunt down. So there you go. You get your runner in a scoring position. 2 out. Runs are hard to get. But that was the right thing to do, was a bunt with him there and try and see if he can catch a little lightning in a bottle here.
Freddie Galvis is 1 for 4, getting a chance to bat right-handed.
They need Dominic Brown to get good walking lead off second now.
They're going to walk him intentionally to face Kratz.
How about that?
Any theories on why?
No. Well, the only thing I could think is they might think that Galvis is more likely to hit a little duck snort out there, you know, and get that kind of jammer hit and a single, whereas they think maybe Kratz with a bigger swing they can handle him. And Kratz, Eric proves him wrong.
Yeah, Kratz has already doubled home run tonight, but he's also hit into a double play.
He also set up a force this way. Other than that, I'm out of it.
Well, here is intentional ball 4. Winning run is at second base.
Here's Eric's big RBI double in the 7th inning and a run all the way in from the bullpen. This one, Velasco is really pitching well and started to run out of gas a little bit, and then he doubles off the top of the wall, tied the game up. A lot of heroics here tonight. Got a chance for some more here, maybe.
Well, this game is calling for, screaming for one more hero.
Kratz could be a double hero tonight. Tie the game, win the game.
He's got Dominic Brown at second base. He's the winning run.
They do with their outfield. They have to bring them in a little bit. Juan Pierre, the weakest of the throwing arms out there in left field. But you'll gamble here and try and score, try and win the run, try and win the game, unless it's just a baby right at Ozuna.
Outside, 1-0.
Ryan Sandberg's down there at third saying, pull the ball. Get it to the weakest thrower. No decision. This kid doesn't have a whole lot of experience, so maybe you get him a little jumpy.
23-year-old from Los Angeles, California.
Well, here's where Eric Kratz is, really learning to hit up here in this league the last couple of years. Just separate the plate, cut it in half, 2-0, and look for your pitch. If not, don't worry about it. This guy's getting a little jumpy right now.
Figure he's taken all the way with the count. 3-0. Mayberry's on deck. Talk about being a double hero.
Yeah, good point. And another guy could do it.
Runners lead off first and second. The 3-0 pitch. High ball 4, and the bases are loaded. The winning run is 90 feet away. Chuck Hernandez running out to talk to his young left-hander who's made his major league debut yesterday.
All of a sudden, he can't throw his fastball anywhere near the plate. They may even throw a breaking ball on the first pitch to Mayberry just to see if he can get something over. The take situation. Here's John in the 10th. Some tough pitches away, and he got another one there. More look at it. That looks like a slider or cutter when you see it. And he hits it out of the ballpark in a deep part of the yard, too.
That tied the game up at 3. Now the Phillies are looking to win it here in the 11th.
What do you think? Swing or take on this?
I think he's taking.
I do, too, because this guy's all over the place.
I think he has to take.
And if he can throw a breaking ball for a strike here or something for a strike, if he misses here, he could really get tight.
Brown is the winning run at third. The bases are loaded for Mayberry. 1-0.
He's just, these aren't even close.
And you know, this crowd of 38,000 plus, they can also get into the head of a pitcher.
Well, they can piranha this thing right now. They can smell it. There they go. Had to make it throw one strike. They're trying the other energy right now.
Line drive toward left field. Pierre's on his way. It is gone! Wow! A grand slam walk-off home run for John Mayberry. How about that to finish up a ball game? Mayberry's homered for the second time, and the Phillies can celebrate. 7-3, the final score at 11.
Well, you knew the game was over, and then it winds up in the seats. And talk about a double hero with 2 long balls, John Mayberry Jr. That kid got himself into a spot time where he had to throw a strike, and Mayberry knew it, and he just zeroed in on a pitch and pounded it.
First career grand slam for Mayberry. Look at this swing.
There it is. Fastball right down the middle, about belt high. Game is over, but by how much? How about by 4 runs? That's the first grand slam for the Phils this year, too. Here it is again. You know Pierre's got no shot at it. And Beebe into the seats. What a finish. That's a fun part, huh?
Look at the smile and how wide it got as he went around third base.
See your teammates waiting for you.
That is unbelievable. Into a sea of teammates. And now we'll get a chance to chat with Murph. Murph, take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Just showing the jubilation at home plate, obviously. No better feeling in baseball than a walk-up like that. And you do it in grand fashion with the Grand Slam.
Oh, yeah, it's a spectacular feeling to have everybody there waiting and, to be able to come in the game late and come up big is a lot of fun.
Come up big. Oh, yeah. we probably should have seen that one coming. Well, I was about to say come up big is an understatement. You tie the game in the 9th inning, as you said, coming in late. And that's great. Double whammy. Next line.
Murph, how's it going down there, buddy?
I guess I need a shave at this point. John, let's try to get through one more question here. Why don't we?
You better be careful. They might throw some flour or something at you.
Maybe we should turn around. You know what? This team, you came in and did your part, obviously, in spectacular fashion, but this was the kind of game that it just seemed like everybody did their part tonight. How important is that for this squad?
Oh, it's awesome. We were really clicking on all cylinders today. Petty pitched great, and to be able to come up with runs late like that and come from behind and win is an awesome feeling.
All right, we look ridiculous, so I'm going to let you go. John, congrats.
Well, Murph, good job hanging in there, buddy. John Mayberry, 5 RBIs tonight. He tied it in the 10th, and he wins it in the 11th. It is so great to see a little celebration here at Citizens Bank Park. And then the additional celebration. A little cold water. That had to feel pretty good. And then a little shaving cream. Kevin Franzen sneak it in. And then add some leftovers. So Murph, take that. 7-3, the Phillies win it. We'll be back after this.